friends? Welcome back. Welcome back. It's author Joe Holt. Got another fireside chat for you today. It's a new streamer to me. I've watched him a few times. Super nice guy, and he's bearded. So anyway, without further ado, welcome my guest today, please, Magic Carl.
Hello, everyone. I am Magic Carl. How you doing today?
Man, that's so. It's great to get you on fireside chats.
Yes.
I remember the day I met you.
Oh,
Now,
you do.
you didn't meet me. Well, you did in text, but
Yeah.
and you may not remember that, but I remember you.
I remember bits and pieces.
So I'll tell you what I know,
Okay.
and then you can tell me what I don't know,
Okay.
or not. I mean, it could be not safe for work. This is not an X tag chat, so keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I met you, it was because one of my guests that had previously been on Fireside Chats by the name of O Chicky Poo X, O Chicky Poo X, right? Chicky Poo, was talking about you and talking about you as a streamer and as a dude. And it's like, hey, I'm gonna go visit this guy. Like,
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So then I tuned in to watch Chicky Poo one night, and it is Chicky Poo, but it's at Magic Carl's house.
That's right.
And
That's
there's a
right.
bottle of what I think, if I remember correctly, was some Tennessee honey whiskey.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Now, that's all I remember. I'm not going to go into details after that. I'm going to let you tell the rest of that story as you remember it.
So,
How did
the
that
nights-
happen? How did he end up there with the whiskey? Like, how did
So,
you guys
so
know
we
each other?
no, we had never met before. He had stopped into my stream a couple times. And we just got to talking. We like kicked it off right off the bat. And then we found out that we lived pretty much like 2 hours away from each other, which I thought
Hmm.
was just absolutely insane. Like such a small world to be on D Live and be like 2 hours from a random person you met online kind of thing.
Yep.
So he was like, well, we should excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cough today. He was saying that we should, meet up and collaborate and do something like that. And so I was like, sure, let's do it. So he came down and he was like, listen, I've had like a crazy week. I don't know if you'd be interested, but we should do like a shot for a ninja guinea. And I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. I was like, I don't think that could get too crazy. Um, Obviously I was wrong. So he came down, we hung out, we got the setup done, and then we started streaming, and it was pretty slow at first. And I say slow, there was still like I feel like there was like 40 or 50 people in there. Um, and so like for me, that's not slow. That's like huge numbers. So I was already like
Yeah.
excited. But the shots started off slow. But the thing about me is I'm a real lightweight. I mean, like I cannot handle my liquor. Admittedly. And then all of a sudden, so we're like a couple shots in each. And at first we were taking them at the same time. We had talked about doing, like trading off things like that. But it was kind of slow at the beginning. So we're like, yeah, let's get the hype started. We'll both take the shots or whatever. So maybe about 2 or 3 shots in each. I don't even remember who it was, but someone dropped a host on us with like 300 people or something like huge, like the biggest number I've ever had in a stream. Which I
I
was
think I
like,
remember that.
yeah,
That's
I
kind
was
of
like,
when things fell apart, or
yes.
or got better. I don't know how you
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like it started off so so good and so much fun. And then ended with the worst hangover I've ever had in my entire life.
There was
But
one point where you were like trying to get the bottle of whiskey, and he was trying to keep it away from you, and then he looked away and you got it, and we're like glug, 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 and he saw you and he was like, ah. Yeah, there was a lot of all that
yeah, I
business.
won't lie. That's kind of like a bit I do anytime I've ever gotten drunk. I just take the bottle and I act like I'm chugging it. And every single time people think I'm dead serious and they're like seriously concerned in the situation. I'm like, guys, the lid's still on. Like it's okay. Like I'm not going to chug
Yes, but you
whiskey.
were also hammered.
Oh yeah, I was very impaired. Um
And then you were okay. So the part that I liked, I'll be honest, I was
okay.
concerned. We were like, "Hey, man, easy, take care of yourself." But then you started like you got real emotional, and you were just like, you know what? I love you guys. I love D
Yeah,
Live. I love the community. I love what I found here. Like I want to get into that, right? Because this is all. It's I'm teasing you a little bit. Like I got drunk on stream on St.
right,
Patty's Day with Best of the Worst, and we
right.
watched Boondock Saints, and yeah, I'm
Oh,
not
it's
going to
a
be
good
doing
movie.
that again soon on stream though. That was rough.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, as much as like I think it was fun, and I think that good came out of it, it's probably not something I'll ever do again. In fact, I've pretty much taken a vow not to get drunk ever again. Not necessarily because, I mean, first off, I looked like an idiot half the time, but the other half was just the hangover was so bad.
Hmm.
I literally was just like a dead
I
person the
will
next
never
day.
drink again if you help me not feel like this right now.
Yeah, exactly. Please, God,
I've said
help
that.
me.
I've said that. It's been a
It's
minute.
it's so I still haven't gotten drunk since. I've gotten pretty tipsy on accident, but
On
I have gotten
accident.
drunk. Well,
Yeah,
the thing
that's
is
how.
about,
No, I get
white
accidentally.
Russians, man, they taste like milkshakes. You're 3 or 4 in, then you realize
You should try
this.
Papa's homemade Irish cream.
Oh my gosh, that already sounds so good.
Five
I love Irish
dollars.
cream.
$5. You
Oh,
can make your own homemade Irish cream.
I'm gonna look into that
It's
and
it's
not get drunk off of
it's
it.
Hershey's chocolate syrup, vanilla syrup, right, and
Right.
a spoonful of instant coffee, a small can of sweetened condensed milk,
Yeah.
and then you get a bottle. Like you buy a bottle of Bailey's and then just refill it, and then
Okay.
you top it off with whiskey, any whiskey. You shake it up and you drink it. It's like $4 or $5 a bottle instead of Bailey's for 30 a bottle.
Yeah, which is just killer. That sounds delicious, though. That sounds
Actually,
like
I taught Rachel the recipe, and she told me the other day she tried it, and it's like her new favorite thing in the world.
yeah,
Didn't mean
yeah.
to derail the conversation with alcohol talk,
No,
but
no, no, no. You're fine. No, you're
that's
fine.
neat to know.
Because that sounds delicious. I'm
All
gonna have
right,
to try that sometime.
so this is the longest I've ever gone without asking the second question.
Okay.
There's only two questions in this interview, and somehow they
Oh,
go
okay.
like 4 hours, but it's
Yeah. Good
um,
conversation.
so the second question, this is serious pants on right now.
Okay.
When did you start streaming, and what got you started streaming?
Okay. So I've got a loaded answer for you.
Uh-oh.
Um, so I actually have been trying to create content on YouTube for about 5 years.
Okay.
I've been through 3 different channels, and they have been extremely amateur. I had one that started off where me and a buddy were just like giving our opinions on movies.
Oh wait,
And that's
can I
that's
stop you real quick?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I never asked you the first question.
Yeah, what was yeah, well, sorry, we just went right into the drunk story.
I disclaimer. I have brain damage. Right. And I don't know about Carl, but all right.
Yeah, well, it's debatable.
Actually, you know what's funny? I know why I forgot the first question because I asked him the first question before we started the show.
That's right.
And
Yeah,
then
that's why
in
I
my
didn't even think
brain,
of it.
I was like, "Yep, we covered that."
Yeah,
we
yeah,
got. Let's involve the audience, shall we?
absolutely.
Okay. So the first question is, what's your D Live name? How'd you come up with it? What's it mean to you? Because the conversation we had was it. The first time I met you, I thought it was Magic Carl, right? But then
Yes,
I
yeah.
took a good look, and there's only one C in the
There's
middle.
yeah.
So Magi Carl, Maggie Carl, Magic Arl. Like, let's talk about this.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I've been called pretty much anything that anyone can think of with those combinations of letters. Um, but it is Magic Carl. My name is Magic Carl. And the way I actually came up with the name is I was actually talking with someone. It was actually coined by someone else.
Mm.
I said I was joking around. I said something about being a magical person, and they were like, "Well, of course, you're Magic Carl." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's brilliant." Before that, I was Dr. Professor was the name I went by for most of my gaming and stuff like that. I
Doctor
thought that was
Professor.
yeah, Dr. Professor.
I
Um,
like that. It's hilarious.
yeah, and so I thought that was fun, and I thought that was great. But then I guess I rebranded to Magic Carl, and the biggest thing that this name has given me is that person that kind of coined it is no longer in my life. We're
Mm.
not connected anymore. Let me put it that way. It turned out that it didn't end well. Let me put it that way. And so for the longest time, I had accepted this name and I thought about rebranding because I just didn't want this name associated with any of those memories.
Mm.
Uh, but I loved the name so much, and not just that, but I feel like the name had become a part of me.
Mm.
It was something personally deeply embedded, because a lot of the things that I talk about is how everyone has a certain amount of magic in them. Something
Mhm.
about everyone is unique or should be celebrated in a way. And so, like my biggest thing is I want to bring magic to people. Like I want them to see the magic in themselves. And so I felt like it was a really fitting name. I went with Magic Carl, and I just, I put, you know, pretty much just put the letter R in the word magical. And I understand how people can get that confused at times. Um, but once I explain it to them, they're pretty chill about it. But I've been called Maggie. I've been called Magi, and Magi doesn't even sound that bad. I'm like, that's still pretty cool.
Yeah,
like I'll take it.
I thought you
Um,
were a magician
no, see, I've had people ask me
named
that, and I'm
Carl.
like, dude, I need to like learn some tricks or something.
Is your
Like
name
that'd be cool to do on stream.
is your name even Carl?
Yes, it
Oh, okay.
is. Yeah.
All right. I'm just
So yeah,
it's like you're not a real magician, but you're
yeah, but I am a real Carl, so at least I got that. Yeah, what if I was like, no, my name's Sam?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, I'm
it's like,
not I'm
who
not
are you?
magical. My name's Bob.
Yeah, exactly. So I felt like it fit the vibe I was going for,
Mm.
and the ultimate goal that I'm shooting for as a streamer or content creator.
So can I call you Frank? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, absolutely. Magic Frank. Yeah, that
All
was
right.
actually my second choice. So
Second, I can see that. All right, so now let's go back to the future where I was trying to ask you the second question before the first
right,
question. Okay.
right. So it was sorry. Will you run it by me one more time?
I
I'm
will. I
short
will. I
term.
didn't mean no, I was gonna say it again. I just thought I would, it's like a
Gotcha.
Pulp Fiction movie, what we're doing. Everything's
Yeah.
out of sequence. So that's a wrap. I appreciate you guys being here. All
Yeah.
right. Question
We'll
two.
piece it back together
Yeah, now
later.
question two is when did you start streaming and also what got you into streaming?
Oh, right. And so I have been doing or attempting content creation for about 5 years. It's always been a deep dream of mine to be full-time YouTuber or full-time streamer.
Mm.
Um, and so I tried with like 3 different channels. The first two, oh my gosh. So the first one, I had no idea about editing or recording or audio. I literally knew nothing. And I just started from scratch with a buddy. And going back and looking at those videos, I'm like, wow, it's very obvious I knew nothing. And then the second channel was like a comedy sketch channel,
Mm.
that also never went anywhere, but we had a lot of fun with. But again, editing, different camera angles, audio issues. I mean, it was just a mess. And then my third channel was a gaming channel because I was like, I am literally a gamer. That's what I do with all my free time. I love and I'm passionate about video games. That's what I do. I should try a gaming channel. And I did, and it also got nowhere. But that's just because I did it for a short time. I didn't understand, social media marketing, stuff like that. But during that time, I decided, well, what if I tried to stream? And so I went to Twitch because that was the platform. And this was about 2 years ago, I think.
Mm.
I went to Twitch and I tried streaming, and this was me. I did it for about 4 months, and this was me networking with people. This was me reaching out. This was me growing my Instagram and growing my Twitter, doing everything that I could possibly think of in order to get traffic into my stream. And I think out of the entire 4 months of streaming on Twitch, I think I had like 1 or 2 people come in.
Mm.
4 months worth of streaming. And
Wow.
it was just the most discouraging, heartbreaking thing. I was like, wow, my content must really suck. Like I must not be worth anyone's time to
That's
watch.
rough.
Yeah, it was a real breaking point. Like at that point, I pretty much gave up on YouTube. At that point, I pretty much gave up on streaming, and I was just really, really upset. So, flash forward, about I'd say like 8 months ago, I was working at a bank with basically nowhere to go up at that bank. I'd worked there for about 2 years, not making much money, just kind of losing my mind. And I had a friend offer a job over at Enterprise. And I was like, heck yeah, I need to get out of this job. That's going to be an actual, like I'm actually going to get paid salary over there. It's like I'm not getting any younger. I might as well jump into something more serious. And so I pretty much quit my job at the bank immediately. I was like, I'll take a little vacation time. It's going to be nice. And during that time in between the jobs, oh gosh, I don't know what it was. There's something about the thought of working in a company or working under someone else that makes me sound egotistical, but it's just like I want to work towards my goals and my dreams. And
Sure.
renting cars at Enterprise, that's not my dream.
Right.
So for some reason the interview process got messed up and they like lost my resume, and so they didn't get back to me for like a month, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, send your resume and then we'll set up an interview." I'm like, "Okay, cool." But by that time I was like, I don't want to. And I was like just dreading the thought of working there. And so around that time is when PewDiePie announced that he was going to be streaming full time on D Live. And I was like, I don't even know what D Live is. I had never heard of it before. He had talked about how D Live doesn't take any cuts. And I was like, well, that's already a big plus. He talked about, everything about it. And that day I went and I looked at it, and it was such a small community. And I was like, now that's interesting, because the reason I didn't get found on Twitch is because there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people streaming for one person. And
Mm.
that's probably just themselves watching their own streams to make sure that it's all good.
I think the literal statistics was like 3 viewers per streamer. Like
Oh my
three.
gosh, that's so
Yeah, like
rough.
that's nuts, right?
Yeah, and then you got streamers on there that have like 10,000 people. So they're just like soaking up I mean, and they've worked hard for it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say, but it's like there's so many streamers on there. It's an overly saturated platform. So I was like, well, D Live seems like it's, like fertile ground is the term that I use. And so I was like, well, I'll try out there. And I don't expect anything crazy. I don't expect anything big, but content creation is my dream. My dream is doing stuff that makes people laugh or smile, getting to work on creative projects, all that jazz. So I hopped in there, and I think for the first week, I had like maybe one or two or three people like rotate through. And I was already like, well, this is better than my entire 4 months of Twitch,
Right.
which is, which is saying a lot.
Which is true.
Yeah. And so I had one guy in particular. He like watched my stream every day. I haven't seen him in a long time. He's since he like pops in every once in a while, but for that first like week and a half, he was like in there every day. And so I got to actually converse back and forth with an audience member. And that was the first time I ever experienced that. And I was like, wow, this is so much fun. Like this is what it's like to be a streamer. And then after that, it just slowly started growing. I remember I was playing Cuphead, which is one of my favorite games, and Super Skip and 16-Bit Couple both came in the first time on that day. And so I started making connections with a lot of these amazing people. And I think that's the most fun I've had as a streamer is like, man, I've made some genuine friendships. Like people have a stigma about, online friends. Um, but like these people are friends and family to me. And I really I'm loving it. And I think it's insane that it's been about a little shy of 6 months. And I'm not only doing this full time, but I'm able to pay bills. I'm continuing to grow. I'm learning new stuff every day. It's a big deal to me to be in a field where I'm constantly learning as well.
Mm.
I don't want it to be stagnant. And I think that's what's fun about streaming is like you constantly have to be adapting or evolving or learning or trying to get better. Um, and I think that's been like it's been a blast. I'm living out my dream right now on D Live. And that's so rare these days. That's so rare.
Yes.
So
You would make a great like infomercial for D Live, I think. It's just so excited, so eager, so such a beautiful, shiny, happy face, like,
yeah.
and a great
That
story.
yeah, and that's the thing is like I've thought about I know you can upload your D Live story, I think, on the community
Hmm.
page. And I've thought about
Yep.
doing that, like
Do
filming that
it.
and talking about it.
Yeah,
Um,
do it.
but it's been crazy. And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on Twitch. I don't hate on Mixer. But I really do love D Live.
Mhm.
Two of the biggest things that I've been impressed with D Live is I had actual growth here, which
Mm.
I thought was impossible in this day and age.
Mm.
And B, when people have problems with a new feature or a new update or something like that, they immediately take it to Twitter, and some people, even a lot of people, just go right to bashing and just like down talking D Live. And then within like 2 weeks to a month, D Live comes back and they're like, hey, we heard, we were paying attention, we've changed this, we've altered it a bit. That's insane to me. That's not something I've ever seen on Twitch. That's not something I've seen on anything. If anything, they just do what they want and they're just kind of like deal with it. But D Live truly listens. And not just that, but I've had staff in my stream.
Mhm.
I've had guardians in my stream, and they're not just there to be like, hey, I'm staff and I'm doing my rounds. It's like they're genuinely interested. And that's something that I've never seen before on a platform. You know, it's not like the creator or like the CEO of YouTube is going to go around and comment on videos. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
Exactly.
they should. It's their platform, and they should be interested in the creators that are literally giving their website lifeblood, but they
Mhm.
don't. And so and I hope that it stays that way. Like, I know it's small right now. So I'm thinking maybe they have more liberty to do that, but I'm hoping that it continues to stay that, even if we have 10 billion streamers, which actually I hope that's not the case. 10 billion viewers, and you know, how many streamers we got right now? We'll just share. That's perfect.
Exactly. So,
But
I mean, I like that because when I found D-Live, it was January 2019, this year.
yeah,
And it was still pretty small, and it was a lot of streamers streaming for other streamers, right? And it was a
yes,
very
yes,
tight-knit community, which was nice. And
yes,
I didn't know anything about streaming, really. I'd been watching LT Zonda over on Twitch for a couple years,
yeah,
and he brought me to D Live. He was like, I'm
yeah,
going to try this new thing. Twitch is not working anymore. And after a couple months of modding for him every day and cruising around the community, I was like, I need to know what this is. Like, I need to be a part of
yes,
this, you know?
yes.
And you were talking about having friends online. And is that as valid as in, real life? People like to say, this is real life.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
talking to each other. We see each other's
Yes.
faces. We're having a conversation, right? It's not the same physical interaction in terms of electromagnetically, but we're still doing the same thing mentally, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that's like society just kind of downplays that for some
Hmm.
reason. And I don't get that. Like for instance, just like calling out people like Duo, Skip, they've both sent me things in the mail. You know,
Mm.
I have Skip's phone number. He's told me that if I ever need to talk, I can call him, and vice versa. It's like it's gone beyond just first off, streamer to streamer or even streamer to audience, any of that. It's genuine friendship, and I never found that on any other website. Most people that most people that I talked to on Instagram when it was about Twitch was pretty much just like, "Oh yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, your channel looks great. Hey, you should check out my channel." And it was always like this they only spoke with me for like with the intention of secretly pushing their own stuff. And I've
Mm.
never felt, I mean, I don't, sometimes that happens on D Live. That's just going to happen. It's some people are just like that. And no hate here. Um, but then like people will come in and genuinely enjoy the content and then genuinely enjoy just talking with me. Like, I'm not trying to tear myself down, but I don't find myself to be a particularly interesting person to watch for hours and hours on end. But some people love it and they have a great time. And what I want to cultivate is something where people can come in, have a good time. If they're having a hard day, let's talk about it. If you're having a great day, let's talk about it. I want a place where people can come, unwind, have a blast, and enjoy themselves.
Well, that's what's so awesome about D Live to me is that the community itself, they're all friends, right? They all talk amongst themselves in chat, and like
Mhm.
half the time, I just feel like I'm a place for them to hang out. Like I don't even need to be there. You know what I mean?
No, that's something that's been brought up in my stream several times. I'll be playing like a highly intense game like Apex Legends or Hunt Showdown or something like that, and so I'll be just dead zoned in, focused, and then I'll die or we'll win the match or whatever, and I'll turn around and look at chat, and I just don't know what they're even talking about. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I was like, what is this? And then one of my buddies in real life, he goes by God Soldier 94, and he goes, "Oh, is Carl streaming?" Like he's like, "You're still here?" And I'm like, "I know it hurts a little bit."
Just turn off your camera. We don't care.
Exactly. Yeah, Skip just said Carl laughs because he knows. That's something that's brought up quite often. Um, which, I think it's pretty funny. I know they're just poking fun.
Well, it's a valid conversation, and I'd like to have it because I don't think we've had this conversation on the show before. So I would like to give an example. I talked to one of my brothers last night, literally last
Mhm,
night, and
mhm.
he said, "Yeah, so and so is looking to move in with me in my new house," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you talk about that person all the time for like 5 years. I've heard my brother talking about this person. That's cool that they're going to move in." And he goes, "Well, I don't know if they're going to move in. We're going to meet for the first time, and we're going to
Yeah.
just see how it goes." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Like you talk
Yeah.
about this person like family? I've heard you
Yes.
talk about him for 5 years." He's like, yeah, but we've never met." And I was like, "Wow, I would have had no idea that they weren't like neighbors in real life based on the way my brother talked about this person." So that's why I just want to say, like, these are real relationships. These are, and they last for years, and sometimes they're way more personal than friends that you have, even let's say out in town, right, in real
Oh,
life, out
very
the
much
front
so.
door.
Very much so.
Yeah, it's you can, in a way, it's like you're in your safe space, right, in your home, but so you can be more vulnerable and you could be more open.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is, and people, I feel like usually don't think this about me, but I'm a mega introvert.
Mm,
Like I'm pretty shy in public. Well, I wouldn't say I'm shy. But when it comes to like social interactions, it's not that I don't enjoy them, it's just that they drain me. Like I
sure,
feel exhausted afterwards.
you
And
could.
that always makes people think that I'm like I don't want to talk to them. I'm like, no, no, no. It's
Mm,
just it's
mm,
hard to explain. It tires me out. And so streaming has been such a great medium for that. If I'm just reading chat, I just punch my own microphone. If I'm just reading chat, like it doesn't tire me out as much as if there were 12 people sitting in this room all talking at the same
oh,
time and
right,
all
right.
watching me, and then we're having back and forth conversations. I'd be dead at the end of every
Yeah.
day. Like that's terrible. Um and so it gives such a unique, I guess, like first ground of getting to know someone. For some reason, people feel, I guess, a lot more able to be open on the internet. I mean, I've had people come in and within the first 5 minutes, they're telling me their life story or they're telling me something that happened to them that was traumatic,
Mm,
or they're telling me about their terrible day or some terrible news that they just found. And I love that. I want people to feel like they can come talk to me. I definitely don't have all the answers. I definitely don't know how much I can help. But if it's a listening ear or kind words, like that's something I can do, and I want to
mm,
do that. But I cannot express enough the genuine deep relationships that I've made through D Live and through Twitter or Instagram. I mean, one of my favorite streamers on here is his name is Prince High Life. I feel like you may have heard of him.
mm-hmm.
It and he like I literally just met him on Twitter one day. It was like my first 2 weeks of D Live, and I just like searched the tag, oh, D Live or official D Live, and saw his name on there. He was doing something with Apex and having struggling with OBS, and so I popped into his stream and I basically explained to him what I did to fix it or whatever.
Mm,
And we've been good friends ever since. And he's one of the most positive, genuine, nice people that I love. Same with Cincy. Like it's just like all of these people, even people that I'm not like super duper close with. It's like me and Super Skip, we're like best friends at this point. I say we are best friends at this point. And other people, I don't want to be too forward as wanting to be their friends, you know what I mean? I don't wanna seem like I'm a crazy person, like, "Hey, be my friend, I'm on the internet, we should be best friends."
We could
Because
be
I
best
definitely don't wanna
friends.
give off that vibe, which is ironic because 'cause I'm pretty sure I gave off that vibe just a little bit in my drunken speech with Chicky.
Oh, dude,
Um
you were way BFF that night. Actually, that's why I fell in love with you, man. That's why I was
Oh,
like, this
man.
guy's got a huge heart, and I gotta know more about him.
Yeah, straight up, my girlfriend the next day, she was like, "Yeah, you gave a speech and you cried." And I was like, "Oh my god,
There
I
was a
don't
bit of
remember any
that.
of that."
There
And I
was a
was
bit
like,
of
"What was it about?" And she was like, "Well, you talked about Cincy a lot." And I was like,
that.
"He's gonna think I'm a crazy person." Like I was like, "He's not gonna want to talk to me anymore." Like I was like, "Great, I just look like a creeper, you know?" Um,
No, see, I can tell you, since he loves it, he's
yeah,
he's a huge heart too.
yeah. Yeah, and it was a good time. Literally the next time I came into his stream, he was like, "Hey man, notice how I didn't say anything or tell you how to stop or anything like that." He's like, "Because I wanted you to learn your lesson." And he was like, "I've done it before, you know, I've been there." And then even the next time I was in Prince High Life stream, he was like, "Hey man, so I saw that stream," and I'm like, "Oh God." And he was like, "I just, you know," he's like, "I'm not judging you or anything, but just don't do that. That's not a good idea." And I
Just
was
don't
like,
do
"Dude,
that again.
I'm never doing it again. I swear." And they were just like, I mean, they were so cool about it. I really appreciated that because in the world today, a lot of people are super quick to judge. And me getting just wasted off of 11 shots of whiskey,
You sure it was
not even
11?
see, I was told it was 11. People kept count or things like that, but it was apparently like around 11 shots.
It was
Uh,
around half a bottle of whiskey.
yeah, which again, I am an extreme lightweight. It was not. It
Dude,
was.
half a bottle is a lot for people that aren't. Like, I don't know what you heard, but that's a lot for anybody.
It was. Yeah. It was a lot. So, like I said, I didn't even remember the little talk I gave, but a lot of people said they really enjoyed it, and I was
Mhm.
like, well, I hope it was good, and I wasn't drooling on myself while I did it because I only remember crying, and that was like. That's what happens when I get drunk. For some reason, I cry almost every time. I don't know what
Wow.
it is. I
Wow.
turn into a crazy person when I'm drunk.
No, you're. I think alcohol makes people more of who they already are, and you're like a super nice, caring guy, so you just get all emotional, which is
Yeah,
fine. It's just
yeah,
not something you necessarily want to do on
all the time,
stream with,
or
strangers. No
in front of
idea who's
400
watching.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that was one of the most best things about the night, and this is coming back to like the D Live community where I said, "Oh, it's so cool to have like people come in and be in my streams that are like either guardians or staff." We had Charles Wayne come into the stream that night.
That's right.
Um,
And donated
and
a Ninja
and
Guinea.
and my first thought was like, "Oh, are
Hmm.
we gonna get in trouble for this? Can we take shots for Ninja Guineas?" And I was like, "Oh, this is kind of he might tell us to shut it down or whatever." And as soon as I thought that, he donates a Ninja Guinea that says "one shot, one Ninja Guinea," and I was like, "This is the best night ever!" Like I was just super
Yes.
excited. I thought
So
it
it's
was so funny.
interesting because I talked to Fat Headed Noob. I had him on
Mhm.
the show, and he's staff, and he was the first Guardian. Like, he's been around a long time.
Right, right.
And I was like, so the shots for donations, all these sort of things, like what's allowed, what's not allowed. And he said basically, like, consumption, like, if you're just drinking a beer while you're streaming, that's not a problem. If you want to, like, drink a lot, right, and end up with your shirt off like Sensi likes to do, uh is no, I'm just teasing. That's not
I mean,
real.
it's the truth though.
No, that's not true. Then you have to, as long as you X tag it, right, you can show
Right.
other things, you could talk about other things. But when like the black and white print is no self-harm, right? Don't
Yes.
talk
Yeah.
about self-harm, don't do anything that's self-harm. And if you drink till you're blacking out, that's self-harm, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
so that's, it's not necessarily against the rules to take donations and drink, but you want to do it in an 18 and up environment so that you're
Right.
not encouraging, because D Live is 13 and up, so that 13 to
Yes.
18 window, we're not trying to corrupt the youth, right? Like that
Right. Exactly.
Diabeto169 in chat, that's my 16-year-old son who's supposed to be in history class right now, watching me stream on D Live, and they're like, what are you doing? Like,
Busted.
I'm your dad. You're telling your dad. Anyway.
That's great. I mean, it's terrible. Pay
It's
attention in history
terrible. Yeah,
class.
pay attention.
Um,
So
seriously.
I'd like to know a little bit more about Carl, the human being.
Yeah. I mean, what would you like to know? I'm
Well,
I'm pretty much an open book.
I have a few questions. First, I'm autistic, so I'm going to go with, like, visual, right?
Okay.
I see you got brown hair, a red beard, and your skin complexion is maybe lighter than the paint behind you.
Extremely pale. Yes.
Yes. So just curious, like, how all that came to be. What's good? No, no.
I'm
No,
like,
I'm just teasing you.
I was born this way.
I was born this way, baby. No, no, no. I'm just teasing you. So hobbies, sports, favorite animal, you got a pet, you like anything you want to talk about, just so we can get to know you a little better?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've always been a nerd. I've never. First off, this one doesn't surprise people most of the time. I was homeschooled, so I wasn't in public school or private school, um, and I was never, ever, ever interested in sports.
Hmm.
I enjoy watching them sometimes, but when it came down to playing them, I'm just not physically adept. Might be the best,
Okay.
the best
Okay.
way to put it. Um, but when I was very young, I remembered having a Super Nintendo, and both my parents worked full time. You know, that was tough. So pretty much the Super Nintendo was like my babysitter when they weren't available. And I just remember playing games like Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and there were just points where I didn't know where to go, and so I would literally scour every inch of the map, talking to every single person, checking every single rock until I figured out what I needed to do next.
Hmm.
And now as an adult and having zero patience, I'm like, well, screw that. I'm just gonna look it up. But um back then that was so exciting to me to figure out the next step or
Hmm.
anything like that. And then of course there were other video games. And I was never really good at them, like, as like a 4 or 5 year old. It was really tough. But I also had like that big connection with my older brother. Now my older brother is 9 years older than me, and
Hmm.
my favorite picture of all time of me and my brother is when I was like, I must have been like 2 or 3. I was standing there in my diaper, um, or pull-ups or whatever I had, and I was standing in front of the TV with a Sega Genesis controller in my hand, biggest smile on my face, staring at the TV, and then you can just see that the controller is unplugged. So what he would do is he gave me an unplugged controller and he would play, but he'd tell me that I was playing and
Hmm.
tell me that I was doing so good. And I remember, like, most people don't, like, I have like very little memories that I can remember when I was really, really young. I remember playing that and not understanding why my character was going the wrong way, but also thinking to myself, wow, I'm really good at this. Like, I'm doing great. I didn't think I'd be this good. Um, so ever since then, I've been in love with video games, and then through high school, I could beat most anybody at most video games, and I just thought I was like, man, I'm really good at video games. And then I got to college, and then I found out I really wasn't that good at video games. Definitely nowhere near pro level. And then now, like, you go on YouTube, you watch Shroud play any first person shooter or anything like that, and they just look like they're aimbotting, but it's really just them as people.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a real humbling thing. I don't have the skill level to be a pro, but I still love video games. And so, it's always a big deal to me to try to work with my passions. And so I'm like, well, what can I do that's going to be with video games that I love? I love content creation. I really fell in love with video editing when I started my first YouTube. I For some reason I just find it so much fun to like create something. I mean, I was never good at it at first. I'm still pretty crappy about it today, but I'm trying to. I think one of the biggest things to me is trying to constantly evolve or make something better. If I'm going to commit to a passion or craft, I want to constantly be getting better at it. I think a lot of people get caught up on blaming outside circumstances, and never looking for ways to adapt or evolve.
Hmm.
If like your channel's not growing or you're struggling, maybe try something different, but don't blame the platform. Now
Right.
at the same time, there's definitely outlying circumstances that are going to hurt you. Like
Hmm.
I was on Twitch for 4 months and I never grew. Now, could I probably grow on Twitch with the information that I know now about social media marketing and things like that? Maybe a little bit better, but it's still a very saturated platform, and so there are circumstances that are out of your control that are going to set you back. But I think the biggest thing is having an attitude of, okay, what can I do better, rather than what can I complain about that makes me feel better about this setback or this failure.
So what would
Um,
you, if you were going to give a new streamer like a tip, what's something that you found when you weren't successful that you are doing now that has helped you be more successful?
I think one of the biggest things is just just having an open mind of, I can change this and I can make this better. People just think they can turn on a video game and play video games, and people will come in and people will give them money.
Hmm.
And that's just not how it works. Um,
Right.
And so one thing I'm constantly doing is I'm constantly on YouTube watching videos, how to be a better streamer. Oh, how can I control OBS in a better way? What's some tips and tricks for OBS? What's some tips and tricks for streamers? Stuff like that. Constantly learning and then trying to adapt those things. One of my favorite channels on YouTube is Alpha Gaming, done by Harris Heller. And he does a lot of information about tips and tricks for Twitch, which I've just, taken those same exact things and adapted those to D Live. Because they're not really like Twitch exclusive. They're more like about streaming. And so the best tip that he gave, in my opinion, and this is the one that I started implementing, and I think it's yielding a lot of results. Let me put it that way: is he only streams 3 times a week, and this is a full-time streamer, content creator. He said if you're streaming every single day, trying to do 8 to 12 hours, and you're calling it a grind, it's not going to go anywhere. You're streaming for very few people, and you're not putting your time to anywhere else. He said, cut the stream hours back and work on other things like improving your stream or rewatching your stream or networking or, learning something new. Or what I do is, so I used to stream from 1 to 4 every day and then 10 to 1. So I'd stream 6 hours every day. I've now cut out my midday streams 100%, except for Fridays and Saturdays, but I'm still up in the air about those. And I just stream every night from 10 to 1. Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
And I use that other time to either be on Twitter or to be watching videos or to even be reading books or to even be working out. Those are important things for mental, physical, emotional, psychological health that I think is going to help me be a streamer when the camera's on. And a lot of people just, they just click the live button and they go live and they just think that if the longer that they're on, the more likely people are going to come in. And especially on Twitch, it's not true. On D Live, it's a lot more available because there's a lot less streamers. So there's a bigger chance of people finding your stuff.
Right.
But I think it's better going out into the social networking community and building relationships and not necessarily getting your name. Like the thing is, I don't want to ever seem disingenuous. When I'm tweeting to people and I'm talking to people, it's because I genuinely care about what they say or I have something to say. As opposed to, I'm going to tweet this so that people can see my name and they'll think I'm funny and then they'll come check out my D Live stream. It's like, you don't want to do that either, because people will sniff that out in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and we've talked about that in the past too. It's just like networking is something you do to expand your horizons. It's not advertising. Right? Like you're trying to meet new people and be exposed to new things, not just say, hey, come to my channel.
Yes. And I think so to pretty much just sum up everything that I just said, you said, what's one tip? And I took a monologue.
No problem.
I would say that
that's what this show is. Get you to talk.
You got me monologuing, you sly dog. I think the biggest thing that I can say is when it comes to streaming, I think that going live and actually streaming is only like 40% of what goes on. And if you're putting 100% towards the streaming, you're missing out on a lot of versatility and different ways to grow. It's like creating a farm and then just putting all corn in it. And it's like, well, you could have corn and carrots and potatoes if but you just have all corn and you're only going to get people that want corn. It's like you can spread out a little bit. That's probably not the best.
Farmer Carl, before you go too off the freaking rails with the farm references. I have a question. Spider-Man or Batman? Who would win?
Oh, listen, I love Batman with all my heart. I really do. I think he's great. And I think if he has the time to plan, he can beat just about anyone. But Spider-Man's six, spider sense, I feel like gives him a really strong edge. Batman's like in the shadows. Batman's a ninja. Batman's fist fighting. And Spider-Man has super strength. Spider-Man is going to be He's got super agility. He's going to be faster, stronger, and have the ability to see which direction he's coming from. Unless Batman just like laid a trap for him and had like plenty of time
technology.
To plan.
Batman has the technology.
Oh no, that's fair. But you also have to think about like the Green Goblin is basically, Batman, but with super strength.
Oh wait, hold on. So say that the Green Goblin is
The Green
basically
Goblin
Batman.
is basically Batman, a guy with the only thing he's lacking is, I guess, the martial arts skill.
Well,
But I
and he
would say
doesn't. He's not a billionaire. He doesn't have a cave. He does like. You can't. You can't just say. You can't just say
okay,
that.
the cape.
You can't. He doesn't have the
That's
old guy butler.
Well,
Like he
he's
doesn't.
also not dressing in black and isn't a bat, Carl. It's like, well, okay, we're cutting
I don't
hairs
mean to
there.
call you out, nerd, but I'm also a nerd. All right.
Yeah, no,
And
that's fine. I'm saying the Green Goblin is a guy who uses a lot of technology to his advantage, has technology in his arsenal, and then has the serum, so is super strong, and he can't beat Spider-Man. So
mm,
take Batman. Now, the thing about Batman is he's a lot more intelligent, and he has martial arts, and he has a lot more training and things like that. So I think if there was like a
well, and also
timeline,
some would argue not mentally unstable like the Green Goblin.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of
You
conversations
think
where
Batman
people argue
is?
that he is crazy, and I'm
Okay.
like, yeah, but
Okay.
that's what makes him awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think if there was like a timeline, like, hey, we're gonna fight in 3 months, or even maybe even just a week,
Give him
like,
warning. Yeah. Give him
yeah,
time to
I think
prepare.
Batman would win. But if it was just like out of the blue fight, I think Spider-Man would take it just because of his. I think his abilities outweigh. It's
That-
really just the Spidey sense. I think his Spidey sense is just so strong.
all right. All right.
So
So what if Batman had been bitten by a bat? Like, do you think that would be? Ah, yes. You never thought of that, did you? Yeah.
no, I sure. Is it a radioactive bat or just a
Well,
bat?
it would have to be something with
He's
superpowers.
Batman with rabies. He's rabies Batman.
No, similar effects to Spider-Man, but Batman, so he can fly now, right? He doesn't need the spider web because the bats can fly. He has sonar, right? He can move around it in the dark, like
Yeah, I think
bat
that would.
stuff, but like it might
I
be
imagine if
fun.
that gave him super strength and super speed, like it did with Spider-Man. Um, I imagine it would be a much more fair. I think Batman or Bruce Wayne's know-how and intelligence would outdo
Mm,
Spider-Man's. It's like
okay, okay,
Spider-Man's very intelligent with technology, but
okay.
Batman's more intelligent with or understands tactics
Mm,
and fighting a lot better. So I think he would take the cake.
okay, okay. So Marvel or DC?
Definitely more of a Marvel fan. I don't get me wrong, I really like DC a lot, but there's there's something about Marvel that just sits with me. I think it's because I grew up watching the Spider-Man cartoon. Um,
Okay.
and then a lot of DC characters I just don't think are as exciting
Hmm.
like powers wise, and I know that's controversial to say. I'm just thinking like I grew up with X-Men where like there's so many unique powers, and then I just come over to DC and it's like it's kind of lacking
Hmm.
when it comes to like creative powers in a sense. And again, I'm not bashing on DC whatsoever, but when it comes to Superman, oh, he's he's super speed, super strength, and then always got laser beams and then frost breath and stuff like that. And then when it's like the Flash, he's got super speed. And it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of like Superman's thing. And then it's like Wonder Woman, she's got super strength and she can fly. And I'm like, okay, that's also like Superman. But I
Yeah.
really love the Green Lantern, not the movie, but the character, because I think it's really interesting that it would be a power that is solely based on your creativity. And I'm like, oh, they could have
Mm,
like a field day with how intricate they got with those characters. So I love Green Lantern a lot, and I do like a lot of the DC characters. Batman's one of my favorites just because he doesn't have superpowers, but it's almost like his determination and his resolve are his powers.
hmm.
Like he's willing to go up against these people with enhancements.
Okay, okay. I just thought of the perfect question.
Okay.
Batman or Iron Man? Because they're
Um.
both think about the premise, right? They're both billionaires. They
Oh,
both have
absolutely.
technology on their side. They both have that wise other person to bounce stuff off of.
Now, are you saying who would win in a fight, or who do I like more?
I think we should talk about all of it
Oh,
because
okay.
I grew up with Batman. My kids grew up with Iron Man. So we
Yeah,
have this
and that's fair.
conversation. I think it may be a generational conversation, but
I think this is such a hard thing to answer
good.
because because half of me really likes the brooding dark side of things. So I'm like,
Exactly.
oh yeah,
They
Batman.
both are equally damaged in that sense.
Yes. But at the same time, Iron Man is so quippy and
Mm,
so sarcastic, and
that's
that's
true.
something I find, I'm very like it's like both of those characters are very relatable to me. Um when it comes down to winning a fight, I definitely think Batman takes the cake.
What?
Um yeah, I definitely think Batman takes the cake.
All right.
Again, I think strategic, I feel like he has more like I don't want to say war
I've
tactics.
never ended one of these early, but this guy, I can't even talk to this fucking guy.
Wait, okay, so what is your argument for Iron Man?
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So, okay, so I grew up with Batman, just to be
Yes.
clear, right? And
Yes.
then I had like, holy shit, Iron Man, this is amazing. These movies are
Yes.
amazing. The idea is
Yes.
amazing. I think with Batman, it's a technology thing, right? I think Iron Man has advanced technology. He's
Yes.
fusion stuff, right? I think his explosions are bigger. I think his firepower is superior. But in terms of like, I have a soft spot in my heart for Batman. Actually,
Yeah.
Superman, if we're going to be specific. I'm a Superman guy. Batman's close second for me.
Yeah.
But in terms of like Iron Man or Batman, fucking Iron Man. That's not even a like what are you talking about? How
No,
would
that's
Batman possibly beat Iron Man?
hear me out here. Hear
All
me
right.
out here.
All right.
Batman has not only fought Superman, but in some cases has defeated Superman or bested him. I wouldn't say kill him. And then we come to Iron Man, who struggles to fight Captain America and Thor in the first Avengers movie.
Struggles.
And I'm not saying like I'm just thinking
It was a
logically here,
struggle.
but I think when it comes down to it, I think I like Iron Man more. And here's why. I watched a YouTube video that discussed this, and I thought it was so interesting. You can actually watch Iron Man evolve over time. Like something happens in this movie, and in the next movie, he has like a way to deal with that exact thing.
Oh,
Um,
right, right.
like for instance, after Civil War,
Hmm.
when Rhodey was shot out of the sky and he couldn't get to him fast enough, the very next movie was Infinity War, where he had that extra thruster boost that he used to shoot himself
I
off
see
into
what you mean.
space.
I see what you
And
mean.
so like they went step by step, movie to movie of this is where he failed, and in this scene he has something that is
Mm.
directly connected to that. Um
Okay.
and
Okay.
I think that's something that I respect a lot. It's like Batman kind of pushes through with his determination, while Iron
Yeah.
Man
Yeah.
like tries to
He kind of
outthink the
gives up. Well,
situation.
Iron Man kind of gives up, to be honest. Like Batman has a determination where Iron Man's just like, everything sucks.
Yeah.
Like you
And
never get that out of Batman.
I think that's the thing. Yeah, I think that's the thing is like, in Avengers, Captain America calls, Tony Stark out and says, "You're not the guy to lay down on the wire." Um, and Tony Stark says, "No, I'm the guy to cut the wire. Like, why would I lay down on the wire when I can solve it where neither me and the other guy have to die?" And Batman's very much like, "I will lay my life down
Hmm.
immediately." I don't remember what what animated movie it was. I only saw these like 5 minutes, but it was something with like the adult Teen Titans and Batman was there, but like half of them were getting infected, and so they were being overtaken by an evil force.
Hmm.
And straight up, Batman starts getting taken, and he goes, he's like, "I've been compromised," and he pulls out a syringe and stabs himself with it. And it's revealed moments later that that was poison, and he was literally killing himself before like he got taken over by the source. And I was like, Batman,
Wow.
you didn't even think twice before that.
That's like, are you sure?
He just goes, "I've been compromised," shake, and just like stabs himself with it. And geez, calm down. And like, I don't necessarily see Iron Man doing that, but I feel like he would have more contingency plans. And so again, I feel like it comes down to if they fought one time, I feel like Batman may have the upper hand. Although, I may have to take it back. Thinking about Civil War when Captain America and Iron Man are fighting, and Iron Man analyzes the pattern of his fighting, but then he still loses to Captain
Yeah,
America. Oh, I'm
super
so
skip.
confused.
Super skip just nailed it. Batman's best defense is suicide.
Yeah.
That's
I've been compromised.
like, come on,
Literally one
man.
of the funniest things. I was like, did he just try to kill himself like
Now,
immediately?
if you said Superman or Iron Man, I'd be like, oh shit, now I'm gonna need to take a minute and think about it because
Yeah.
I don't I would I would want to say Superman, but I don't.
Yeah.
I would have to, genuinely think about it because doesn't he's got like the laser beam eyes and stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah, I honestly think Superman would probably win that fight unless Tony Stark had kryptonite or something with kryptonite.
well, we
Just
would
because
right.
I
We're
feel like he'd just rip
assuming
him right out of that suit.
we're assuming he wouldn't have kryptonite because Tony Stark is of Earth, right? And
Yes,
and he's a
yes.
technology guy, but I don't know. See, what's funny is I had an obsession. I think I've told this before. I don't know, not for a long time, but I had an obsession with Superman as a kid and could never figure out why. And then I was in adoption homes and foster homes and stuff when I was younger, but I've
Oh
now
wow.
met my birth mother and family and stuff, right?
Oh wow.
So I was talking to my birth mom about it, and I was like, "Hey, what's this thing with Superman?" And she was like, I don't know, honey. I don't know why you would have Superman thing, but when you were born, you were a couple weeks premature. You had some serious medical stuff. The first 3 months of your life, you spent in an incubator, not held,
Wow.
hugged, touched, kissed, nothing. Nobody was allowed to touch me for the first 3 months.
Wow.
So what my mom did, so I wouldn't feel lonely, is tape a picture of Superman to the top of my incubator
Are
and
you
leave
serious?
it for 3 months straight. So
Wow.
I literally, if you think about Superman's story and putting him in the thing and shooting him, right? I literally like laid in a capsule and stared at a picture of Superman for the first 3 months of my life.
That's so amazing.
And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what this thing was. I have Superman my whole life.
Right. That's insane though. Like
Yeah,
that's great that that's stuck with you. And yeah, what
yeah,
an inspiring story for someone who is, like
yeah.
in a capsule for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
wow.
So when I say like I got a Superman thing, I got a Superman thing.
Yeah.
But Superman or Iron Man? Well, I actually have I have an Iron Man thing now. When I
Yeah.
lived in Colorado, I was a part of a lot of nonprofit outreach for veterans in the
Mhm.
community. So they were having this fundraiser at the local golf club and resort, and people with the money helping the people without the money. That was the idea. So they
Right.
said they knew I was an artist and I'd been making paintings and sculpture and stuff, and they asked me to make something to draw attention to the event. And I said, now, do you want me to make something that's like nice and expensive and people will spend a lot of money? Or do you want me to make something that will draw attention to the event? They're like, we'd like you to draw attention. I go, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So what I did was I went to the local metal scrapyard and bought a couple $100 worth of scrap and built an 8 foot tall robot that I called Iron Fan that was based on Iron Man.
Yeah.
So I had the glowing chest plate. I
Oh my
had,
gosh.
dude, that thing would tell you the barometric pressure, the temperature. There was a lamp, there was a radio, a CD player, a tape player, a compass. I mean, it
That is
was
so
like
awesome.
it was super interactive, right? You plug it in, and this thing comes to life. The eyes, if you walk by them, they're motion sensing night lights, so then the eyes come on. The chest plate was actually this old kid's toy called I Spy, which was a handheld like microscope thing. So I built it into the chest. So if you got near the chest, you would pop up on a monitor that I had mounted behind him. You could like kind of see yourself all distorted and crazy, like.
That's so cool.
And of course, right in his chest, right here, was a working iron fan. Right, so when you turn up,
Perfect.
yeah. So it was like the joke was Iron Man built by a disabled veteran on a budget, based on Iron Fan built by a billionaire playboy. Right, that's the.
Yes. Yes, I love it.
And it
Holy
ended up in
cow.
the newspaper. It ended up. I met 2 car crashes because to get it to the vet center. Oh, yes, there is Iron Fan. Yes, there is video and photos of Iron Fan available.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that out.
So Iron Fan, when I had to get him to the vet center, I had to like get behind him and push him. I built him on a like a handicap wheelchair thing,
Yeah.
so I could push him around. And it was
Right, right.
and it was like what Iron Man will be when he's old and disabled, right? So he
Yeah,
had knee
yeah.
braces and wrist braces and a neck brace and like oh, it was anyway. So I'm pushing it down the road, and it's so big you can't see me behind it, right?
Yeah.
So I had a
Wow.
friend walking next to it to tell me, "Hey, left, right, there's something in the
Yeah,
way."
exactly. Yeah, because you couldn't see past.
Yeah, so she said two cars crashed. Like I heard it and stuff and look and
Yeah.
see, but people were basically she said it looked like she was walking her robot, like because they couldn't see me pushing it. And oh my god, we caused so much trouble with Iron Fan. Oh, it's so much fun. Anyway, I didn't mean to go off on a tear. So
No, and that sounds amazing. I would definitely love the link of that.
I have like a personal thing between Iron Man and Superman. I don't know.
Yes.
I
So
think I would
you're
choose Superman.
you got one foot in each camp.
I think I would say Superman if I had to pick.
I feel like without Kryptonite, Iron Man wouldn't stand much of a chance. I really like Iron Man, but if it
Mhm.
just came down to just strength, Iron Man would probably not be able to keep up.
All right,
Superman's
all right.
he's just too strong.
That's true. That's true.
He's just ridiculous.
That's true. I can't argue with that at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what else, man? What else? What do we need? Let's see. Streaming. It's in terms of streaming. What is it that you? Because I saw some references in chat that you don't really play your games on stream. Is that true? Or are they just trolling you?
I don't really play my games on stream.
Yeah, that you're a
I mean,
closet gamer.
they might just be trolling me and my inability to play video games.
Okay.
No, I definitely, I tried to do a chatting stream last night.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little slow, but the entire time I was like, man, I really want to play video games. Like, I don't mean to be rude or anything, if y'all are chill with it, and they're like, yeah, that's like no problem. Like, that's what you always do. So I was like, cool. So I started playing video games and it just started feeling natural again. It was a good time. I just love to game, and I love to share that with people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's always been something that's important to me is my parents will never ever have the ability to play video games. They're very technologically impaired, I think is the best way to say it. My dad and I used to play Super Bomberman 2 on the SNES. And that was good times, but if you gave him something like, I don't know, Call of Duty or Apex Legends, I think he'd flounder pretty hard. And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the things I always wanted to do was be able to share that with them. And so I always want them to be able to, hop into the stream whenever they can and see the cool games. Because there's so many games with like amazing storylines that have really changed my life, really.
Like,
Undertale in particular
okay.
was a game that just like brought so much nostalgia. And I think it was like the first game in a long time that actually made me feel something.
Hmm.
And so I really enjoyed that. And so I made, a playthrough on YouTube specifically for my mother because I wanted her to see the story and understand it, but I knew she could never play it, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it's just an amazing way to share an experience with people.
Oh yeah, and I think that's I thought about that when I first started streaming. Like, why would I stream? What would I stream? And I
Yeah.
didn't start streaming until I could answer that for myself. But when it comes down to it, it's you're having a human experience, and other people are in a way very voyeuristic, right, and want to watch that.
Yes.
But the cool
Yes.
thing about D Live that changed streaming is that there's heavy interaction between the streamers and
Yes.
the audience here on D Live. That's my
Yeah.
favorite part.
Yeah, and same here. And that's the thing is like, I realized after a few years that when you're gaming with someone or you're doing something, with people that other introverts or people that just don't like to talk about themselves, when you're doing something together, people feel more comfortable opening up and talking
Hmm.
about things. And that's, I mean, I guess my ultimate goal for my stream is to be able to be there for people. And if people don't feel comfortable, it's like if someone that was shy and introverted and I took them out for coffee and we sat down one on one and I just stared at their face the entire time, it's like they're going to feel uncomfortable opening up. They're going to feel
Sure.
maybe worried about talking like that. Um as opposed to if we're just gaming and they say something, I can ask them a question and they might
Right.
feel more open or relaxed if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
giving them 110% of my, you know, attention. And if they want my attention and if it's something serious, obviously I'll be able to pause a game or I'll stop, or I'll get to a stopping point where I can focus, give that conversation the full focus that it needs. Um, and that's one of the biggest things that I've seen on D Live that I love is, I've hopped into people's streams and, someone will be saying something concerning. I mean, talking about,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm having all these dark thoughts, I feel lost and things like that. I've seen so many streamers say, "Hey, here's my Discord. We can talk anytime. If you want to talk about it here on the stream in the open, that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
If not, hit me up on Discord. We'll chat about it." I've had people that have, it's like I don't know if they know that I'm watching because I lurk a lot. Sometimes I'll come in and say a few things, but sometimes I'm just like just looking at the other streamers.
Mm.
Um, Not necessarily like to take notes or anything as much as I want to see who they are as a person. And maybe not let them know that that sounds creepy.
That's
Maybe not let them
that's
know that I'm
it's
there
pretty
is what I was
creepy,
gonna say.
Carl.
Uh,
Pretty
it's
creepy.
like I just watch from the corner and I'm like, yes, play the video games. Um,
I mean,
but just
that's
seeing
what it
how,
is. That's what it is,
yeah,
though. Like, really,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and just seeing how they interact and how they respond to those things is it's encouraging, it's inspiring because
Mm.
like
Mm-hmm.
I think I think one of the biggest things that I've come to realize is first off, a lot of people refer to themselves as small streamers, which I stopped doing that after a while. I don't feel like I feel like I am a streamer, not small or big, but I'm just working on my numbers right now.
Mm.
I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to give off the fact that I feel like when you say small streamer, it kind of devalues yourself as a streamer, and it also devalues the people that watch or, enjoy your stuff or follow you because it's like, yeah, thanks guys for following me, but I want more of you. It's
Mm.
like, no, I'm happy with what I have right now, but the thing, and I mean, obviously, I want to grow and I want to, be more stable and things like that. Um, but when it comes down to it, like you need to be thankful for what you have. Even if you've got one person watching, that's still one person
Well,
like
it's that
committing time.
that reference you used earlier is like, yeah. Well, what if they were sitting there in front of you? Would you
Ex-
talk to them? Would you pay attention? Of course you would. But
exactly.
that's also why it can feel weird because if there's 100 people in the chat, how would you feel sitting in the middle of 100 people who were just like, "So, what you doing?"
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And you're trying to play a video game at the same like I already have a hard enough time. If there's like 20 people in my chat and I'm playing a game, I literally so many times I'll be like, "Sorry guys, give me 1 second. I'll catch up on chat in a minute. I'll pause it or I'll die or something and then I'll like try to read as much as I can." And like that's one thing is I really want to grow. Like I would love to
Mm,
be a big streamer. I'd love to have a lot more stability when it came to finances and things like that, but at the same
mm,
time, I'm just thinking about be thankful for what you have now. Uh,
mm.
like if I have 10 people in my chat and it's the same 10 people that are always in there and we're having a great time chatting, that's fun. Even if, it's like, oh, not big numbers or, money just isn't pouring in like every, streamer's dream. Um, just enjoy it. Don't get stressed about the numbers because one day when you do have maybe 1,000 people in there, those 10 people who are your friends who are watching you and had all of those fun, interesting moments, that's going to be difficult to like read anything that they say at that point. Um,
Yeah,
that's gonna be a
definitely.
sad. It's you're getting more success, but you are gonna lose some things out of that, and that's something that although I'm shooting for growing and I'm shooting for consistent growth and numbers and all of that jazz, it is going to be sad to lose some of those things. Now I've made such long-lasting relationships with these people that if we can't talk and stream as much, we can talk outside of stream anytime. We can
Right.
tweet, we can talk, but I mean it's going to
Well,
be like it's less intimacy going on.
you definitely hit a nail on the head that I've even seen, which is when you've got a dozen, 2 dozen people at most in your chat, you can talk and interact and have a conversation.
Mhm.
There's 100 plus. even 100 plus, and they're interacting, give it up. You're not going to keep up. It doesn't matter if you slow the chat or not. It's
Yes.
just too much going on. So when you're
Yes.
talking thousands of people, I watched Co Carnage on Twitch for years. There'll be 10 to 20,000 people in his chat, and it's like,
Yes.
and there's no
And
reason for that.
at that point, you're literally just talking, or you're just doing your own thing, and people are
Yeah,
watching you. It's no longer a back and forth.
exactly.
Which at the same time, I'm sure you can do. I don't know if D Live has got this option, but I guess you could do. Yeah, you can change the settings to where it's like, oh, only subscribers can talk or things like that. So you could like hold like a subscriber stream, but even still, that's still going to be a lot of people if you get
Hmm.
big enough. But yeah, I see like, I watch like YouTube compilations of different streamers. I like a lot of League of Legends stuff, but I'll just look at their chat and it's just like people posting emojis and the chat is just like flying. I mean, there's nothing coherent being seen ever. The only way that what they're saying is going to be seen on the screen is if they do those donations and then type it out and kind of thing like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
and
don't
he
want to. I don't
actually.
want people to feel like they have to pay me in order to speak to me.
Well,
That seems so
no, it's interesting
pretentious.
because Co Carnage was talking about that. He's like, we've gotten to a point where unless somebody's donating, I can't see to read it. And
Yes.
then he's like, so I actually set the donation as low as I could because I don't want you to feel like you have to pay to talk to me, but at the same time, if you
Yes.
want to talk to me, you're going to have to pay me because I can't see it otherwise.
That is cool that you can lower the amount there though.
Hmm.
I think that's pretty great.
But it's
But yeah,
still
that's
like,
one thing I'm thinking about. How am I going to juggle that in the future? Because obviously my goal as a full time streamer is to grow as much as I can,
right,
and
right.
that's something I'm going to have to juggle with. I mean, hopefully, have to juggle with. It's kind of like,
Well, yeah, yeah. Presumably, you will. If I mean,
yeah.
you've got. My question is, how did you decide what to stream? Because you clearly have this passion for games and comics and things like that. Do maybe do more streams reviewing comic stories, talking about storylines and stuff.
I actually considered doing that. I was because I've been wanting to get like on a comic book, I guess, train. I don't
Hmm.
know much about how physical comic books work. I love superheroes and all that jazz. But I'm trying to find one from issue one that I can buy one. I guess I don't know one like subscribe to it, so they'll like send me the next one whenever it's out, kind of thing.
Mm.
And then I think I would love to do a stream just discussing that. Oh hey, I got this issue this week. I just read it, so this is what happens in the story.
Sure,
I think
sure.
this art is amazing. Like
Hmm.
just stuff like that. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun to do. I've also thought about doing like a book like review kind of thing to where like maybe if other people are interested they can also buy the book and then once a week we can read a chapter and then all come together and we can discuss that chapter, like a book club,
Do you know
but like
any
an
authors?
online. Yes, I do. I sure do. And I would definitely, and that's just something, some ideas I've been juggling with. I think that'd be fun, but I also don't know how many people would want to read and then come join. It would be essentially like a book club. And
Yeah.
so coming to my audience that's on a streaming, mostly gaming website and be like, hey guys, y'all want to start a book club? It's like, I don't know if that's going to stick with a lot of people. But even if I had like 4 or 5 people, I feel like that'd be a lot of fun.
You do
Uh,
whatever makes you happy, buddy, and people
right.
will watch it.
Right. And that was the thing is so before I'd streamed on D Live, like Apex Legends had just come out. Um and I was just hardcore addicted. I mean, I was playing like 5 or 6 hours a day. And this was before I was streaming. And so I'm like playing this game nonstop and I'm like, why don't I just stream this game? Like I'm already spending the time playing the video game.
Hmm.
Why would I not stream it and then, maybe make some money or maybe get some growth or maybe turn this into something serious? And as soon as I got on D Live, I just fell in love with it and I was like, this is the direction I want to go. So,
Well, I have a serious question for you about
yeah.
being because there's a part of the show is we trying to help new streamers,
Hmm.
right? And people are thinking about doing this. So I stream. It doesn't matter what I make because I give it all away, and that's how I feel. So there's no
Right.
stress to me about Lino. Now,
Right.
I made that comment to my buddy Luke, and like yesterday, or LT Zonda, like a day ago, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Mate, this is my income." Right, like, and oh no, it wasn't LT Zonda, it was actually Sean Hawk, but both
Yeah.
global partners, right? He's like,
Yeah. I love
I
Sean
don't
Hawk.
have the luxury of giving all the Lino away. Like, I need it. It pays
Yes.
my bills. And I thought,
Yes.
wow, it's kind of callous of me in a way to say, ah, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, especially if you're a full-time streamer. So with that preface, my question is, was there a point where you were, well, I know there was, where you were just like, hey, let's try streaming, and then you made the decision to be a full-time streamer? What is there stress involved? Do you worry about Lino? Like, how are you dealing with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So so I pretty much had like maybe 1 or 2 months of savings after my job that I could pay for like maybe
Mm,
2 months worth of bills.
hmm.
And so I was like, man, I'm really just gonna jump into the streaming thing and see if it just, poor choice of words, but magically kicks off. Um, and so I got in and it was really slow at first. And then even when it started picking up, donations were pretty slow. And I'm like, man, it's a lot of lino that I need monthly in
Yeah.
order to pay for my bills. And there's been times where like I've just been knocked out of the water. Some days I'll make a penny and then the next day I'll make like a couple $100 and it's like, wow, that's amazing. But the lack of stability that's there
Mm, hmm.
because I didn't know I was going to make $100 or so on and so forth the
Right.
next day. I don't know if I'm going to make $10 today or nothing today or, a ton of money today. It depends on so many factors. It's not like I'm doing, oh, give me Lino this stream. Like it's not like
Right.
there's a designated stream where everyone's just going to donate to me. Um, and so yeah, I think one of the biggest things is there's a terrible stigma about streaming or being a content creator or doing anything online that's basically your own business. I mean, I told a lot of people, I think it's so funny that a lot of people in the world are like, yeah, always chase your dreams, never give up. And then when you tell them, hey, I'm chasing my dreams, they're like, oh, so you get
Yeah.
paid for that? Which is
Hmm.
exactly what happened at my old bank when I came back and I was like, oh no, I didn't actually go to enterprise. I'm actually a full time streamer now. They're like, what is that? And I'm like, well, I basically play video games and people donate or they support. And they're like,
Yeah.
people pay you? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, listen, I don't
Yeah.
get it either, but I'm very thankful and very blessed. Like, I really don't. Like, I guess I entertain them and I guess they feel, generous, that kind of thing. And, it's a big deal. But yeah, every month. And just even, I have a girlfriend, Wreck It Rachel, who I'm, very serious about and very serious with. And it's a hard thing to kind of approach her and be like, "Hey, instead of having a stable job with a salary, I'm gonna play video games online and goof off and try to make people laugh for money. Is that okay?" And thank God she's been just so supportive. She's been extremely supportive. When a lot of other people are like, "Well, I don't think this is a good idea," or "You need to try to hold down another job," and I'm like, I definitely want to I just wanted to dive into streaming. I didn't want
Mm,
to. Every time I've ever tried to like do a job on top of this, it did not pan out well. I wasn't giving it enough time, or I was too tired, or it was extremely difficult because just doing this stuff alone it's already difficult. Like there's so much to it.
yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, the stress is real. The stress is real, and I don't want to talk about it too much, like on stream, because I don't want to seem like I'm like hinting at like, hey,
Mm,
give me money. But like if somebody asks, how I'm doing, I'm like, oh, I'm a little stressed today. Or like things like that. But I really try to be at peace as much as I can.
hmm.
Um, I'm a big believer in faith and my relationship with God. And so I draw a lot of peace from that. And I don't usually bring that up too much because I don't want to seem like I'm preaching on stream or anything like that. But just it's something that keeps me stable and focused and centered. And every single month it's come through. Even when things get like at the very like there's been times where I'm like, wow, I did not make enough Lino this month. I mean, I know I've got people that I can, rely on to cover me financially. And then within the next 2 days, like someone just comes in and just blows up my stream for no reason. And I'm just like, man, I feel like that was just a miracle right there. Like I'm very thankful for that. Whether people call it luck or miracles or whatever, like it's
Hmm.
it's happening and I'm very blessed by it, and I'm blessed by the community.
Well, and I think it's important to talk about these things, and that's what this show is great for. Like,
Right.
I was asking El Tizana about it, right? He talked for several months, like, I'm nervous. He was looking for a full-time job. He was still streaming every day, and he's like, I
Yep.
got 3 months saved up, but I think I'm gonna just give it a full-time go and see what I can do. And what he said he realized is with his having his own house and bills and stuff, he needs about 5,000 lino a day
Yeah.
to make it,
Yeah.
and some days he makes less, some days he makes more, but that's if you want to be a full-time streamer on D Live and pay rent and eat, you need at least 5,000 lino average a day,
Yes.
basically.
Yes. And there's months where I'm very short of that, and I just have to like finagle my way around things as best as I can.
Well, and summer is a slow time, just so you know.
Yeah.
Like summer is
Yeah.
one of the slowest streaming times because people are busy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So we're
And
coming
that's the thing
back
is like,
into a good time for streaming, I think, right now.
yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I'm really excited to see D Live grow some more.
Mm.
And this isn't me knocking on D Live or anything whatsoever, but it's still very, very small. I mean, if you look at Twitch numbers, one gaming category probably has more people in it than our entire website. At least online, not like the entire, as in like all the
Right.
followers and all that jazz. But if you compared numbers on who's online watching right now to any like gaming category on Twitch, at least in the top 10, they're going to dominate by far. And so I'm thinking that just over time, D Live's just going to naturally grow. Yeah, I use my hands a lot.
No, every time, every time you say all that jazz, I give you jazz hands.
Yeah,
That's what that is.
I like it.
Sorry,
I'm
autistic, man. I'm like, man, I'm a little
no,
twitchy.
you're fine. I use my hands a lot. Like for some reason I'm just all over the place.
I love it. All that jazz.
That's right. And so I think D Live is just going to naturally grow. It's a big deal right now for Mixer because Ninja just moved over there, and that's great. I want Mixer to grow. I want Twitch to grow. I want all of these things to grow. But I think that D Live is a unique platform. I think it's going to be the Lino system is just absolutely wonderful. I think it's extremely cool. And so I think it's going to grow in the future. And once it grows, even if it just grows 10%, like like I don't know, 10%, like in a month or 6 months, that's going to be exponential.
Dude,
The more viewers,
the different, like 10% is I have 110,000 Lino locked. That's 1.1 million Lino if you move the decimal point over one.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nuts, huh? And it would have to grow, what, 1,000 times to catch up with Twitch?
Yes.
So that's pretty, the propensity for growth is high. But question about the Lino for you being a full-time streamer. So Lino is currently a token, a site token. It's at a locked price point of 1.2 pennies per Lino. So you know exactly what to expect when you get a donation.
Right, exactly.
What would it mean to you if Lino became a cryptocurrency and the price started fluctuating? Do you think that would affect you?
I think that'd be very scary. And the reason is, if it went up, fantastic. If it went down, that would be a little worrisome. But at the same time, as long as the price of Lino stayed relative, like so if it goes down in value and then they sell it for less, according to the value, then I don't think it's that big of a deal because then I imagine people would be able to buy more and donate more. Like, let's say someone's going to donate me just $10 this month. Whether that $10 buys a Ninja Genie or that $10 buys a Ninjet or that $10 buys a lemon, like, I feel like they're still going, well, I mean, that would suck. $10 a lemon. Like, I feel like people would have a hard time.
That's what I'm saying. So if Lino goes up like that, do you think people are still going to donate the same way? Or are they going to be trying to hold on to it as an investment thing?
And that's something like I said, I think that's worrisome because if that's the case, then people are probably going to donate. Like, let's say it was $10 a lemon. That means you have to buy $10 worth of Lino just to donate something. The minimum of a donation would be $10.
Right.
And I think that would cause donations to go down a lot. Now, of course, if it went from 1 penny to $10 a Lino, I feel like all my locked Lino would make me pretty rich in comparison. What is that?
Dude,
$1 to $10? What is that? 1,000?
Yeah, 100,000 times 100 is doing whatever you want now.
Yeah, exactly. And so, whoa, I just saw that sticker that Rowdy Souls post. I'm gonna steal that real quick. Sorry, dude, I got distracted.
That dude, Marcus, is the one who runs that account most of the time, and that dude is gifted.
Stranger Things is one of my favorite things, so I absolutely love that. I gotta snag that real quick. I think I gotta delete something.
He's good. Now, if it was truly magic, Marcus, that Magic Carl sticker would have a bling somewhere. It would sparkle. It would be like
sparkle.
Like every 5 seconds, a little bling, on the corner of the sea or something.
That's awesome. I love it.
That's so awesome. So many talented folks on this platform.
But yeah, just back to the Lino. If that happens, I mean, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Obviously, I love D Live and I want to stay on here permanently. But if something like that happens, you have to think of your brand and your future kind of thing.
Yeah,
it would just be very uncertain, and that would it's already such an unstable thing to try to make as a job.
Sure.
Because you don't know if people are gonna donate to you this month or not. It's not like they're like, hey, by the way, I'm gonna donate to you. I mean, unless for subscriptions or subs, people aren't going to guarantee to.
But those aren't guarantees either on D Live.
Yeah,
because
they really aren't.
Like on Twitch, if you sub to somebody, it's a credit card. It takes it off your credit card every month, $5. But if you sub monthly to people on D Live and you don't have the Lino, it just doesn't. It doesn't tell you. It just does. It just doesn't resub.
Yep. Which is unfortunate. And then on top of that, there's the whole if someone subscribes to you for a month, it's like that's great, but it's not a consistent monthly thing. And so the excitement of having, I've got this many subs, that means I'm going to make this much money every single month. That's not necessarily there with those as well.
Right.
And so the ability to have some kind of stable income once a month is only based on the people who subscribe monthly, as opposed to people who just subscribe for a month or 3 months or 6 months.
Right.
And in that case, you're getting paid out right then and there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
so,
I've heard. What do you think about this? Because I've heard a number of streamers say they would rather have you sub than drop 3 diamonds. What's your opinion on that?
I honestly think I would agree, and the reason that is because you're getting access to the fun sub stickers that I've worked on. You're getting the tag next to your name, and I think it's like, I want everyone in my stream who comes into my stream to feel like they're already a part of the family. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like, hey, you're not cool enough if you're not in the subscriptions, because some people don't have 300 Lino. They really don't. Well, like if you're like a 12-year-old who just watches streams and really enjoys coming in, and you don't have access to buying Lino, like, I'm not going to be like, how dare you, or anything like that. I don't want to treat them any differently. Well, but I think getting the tag is a lot of fun,
right?
And it makes you feel a part of the stream, and it's kind of like a badge of pride. Like, not only do I support this streamer, but I'm a part of this group, and I think that's fun for them. It's not something I ever want to like push or be like, y'all should have this if y'all really like me. That's not true. What I appreciate more than anything is people being in my stream. And then what I always tell people, like, because some people, like I say, if there's like a 12-year-old who doesn't have money, like, they always say, man, I wish I had Lino to give you. I really like your streams. And I've had people say this a lot, which is, I'm always like, it's not a big deal. If you don't have money to give me, don't give me money. And I'm always worried about people giving me money when they don't have it. But I always tell them, if you want to support me, just be here and hang out in the stream. That supports me a lot. But also, you can tell your friends, you can share it on anything, and that's going to be, it's almost just as beneficial, or not, if not more beneficial than giving Lino. Unless it's like a ton of Lino. If I had to choose between someone giving me like an ice cream or someone sharing me on their social media, I would choose a social media every time. There's a ton of ways that people can support and help that aren't necessarily monetary.
Like going to @MagicCarl and dropping him a follow.
Yes, that would be wonderful. And see stuff like that, collaborating with other amazing streamers and things like that, it really opens up to meet a bunch of new people.
We've completely lost our chat. They're talking about eHarmony,
Farmers Only, that's what I just came in on.
And FarmersOnly.com. Can we have you guys back? Do you mind rejoining us here in Magic Carl Land?
Oh my goodness.
MySpace.gov too. All right.
This is the part where they're gonna be like, wait, Magic Carl's on the stream? I didn't even notice.
Can we just turn his You know, it's
It's
funny. They
full
can't
circle.
see it. They can't see it. I feel like I want to show them though. The your shadow on the wall is cut out of the way you
Oh yeah.
fit, but it looks like there's like a cartoon character like pantomiming, like mocking you
Yes.
the
Yes.
whole show. It's been kind
It's
of
very
awesome.
Peter Pan.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we should show here. You know,
Yeah.
we could show them. Let's. I'm
Yeah, because
serious. It's
I
so
move a
much fun.
lot too.
It's
Like
so much
I'm a
fun.
very mobile person, I
Let's see.
guess.
I gotta take a look here. We'll get it. We'll get it, guys. I want to show you his shadow because it's hilarious to me,
Yeah, like
anyway.
I move a lot, and so it's just
No, can we even? Does that work like that? Nope. We're not gonna be able to. Oh, there he is. I see
excuse
him.
me.
We're giving up. All right, forget it. Oh, Joe and Carl are still here. Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
So,
surprise everyone.
so what games are you excited about? Are there any new ones coming out? Do you have ones that you're
Um,
addicted to? Oh, dude, I'm totally. I run over my headset cord about every 5 minutes with my chair, and it drives
Dude,
me
you and me
nuts.
both. I've literally been fidgeting with the cord for like the last 30 minutes just to get it out of the way of the wheels.
I keep saying
So
I'm going to build a whip on the back of my chair that I can hang the wire up on to keep it out from under the wheels.
that'd be smart. That'd be smart.
I
I've got like a
know.
little hook up right here for my whole headset, but now I'm just wrapping the wire around that now
I've
that I
been
think about
talking
it.
about it for 6 months. I still haven't.
Yeah, yeah, that's usually me with just about anything. It's like, man, I really should do the laundry at some point.
All
Like,
right. So the question was, are there games that you're excited about right now you're playing or games coming out that you're excited about?
so obviously I've been super hyped about Apex Legends. I think that game is I came from playing PUBG a ton. And I was
Hmm.
never interested in Fortnite ever. I did not like the building mechanics. I've never enjoyed that game, and so I never really played it. So when Apex came out, I thought it was amazing. And I've just been seeing so many leaks on the information of new legends that are coming out. That game is about to get insane. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to all get out, but they've already got like 12 next legends planned out.
Damn.
And some of them are crazy. So I'm excited for that, but that's going to take a long time. But the one game that I'm super excited about, I don't get excited about AAA games very often.
Hmm.
There's like some that I'm like, yeah, I'll play that, but there's none that I'm just like, oh, I'm actually waiting to play this, and that's Borderlands 3. Um, I loved Borderlands 2. That was a game I played through college like crazy. The only issues that I have with Borderlands, the only issues, like there's not a lot. There's some issues I have with Borderlands 3 right now, and that's the drama that's going on around them. And then on top of that, the fact that they signed over to Epic Games, and then I just found out that they're doing a Fortnite Borderlands like mix up, and I'm just like, that's bothersome. Borderlands is so crazy, wild. Like, I mean, it's a very adult game. It's psychos and crazy people and thieves
Hmm.
and bandits and mercenaries. And they're like, well, what if we took all the serious of that and just like threw the skins into Fortnite? And I was like, that just like, I don't hate people that play Fortnite. I don't hate Fortnite itself. It's just not a game for me. But that just seems like such a sellout thing to do. It just killed me. And then so there's
Sometimes that happens, buddy.
yeah, and that's the truth. It's the gaming industry, and they probably got paid tons of money to do it. And you know what? If I was in
Yep.
a part of their shares or whatever, I'd probably be thrilled about it. Like so, but it's just there's so much drama going on around the Borderlands 3 thing, the 2K and the what was his name? Sup Matto. I don't know if you heard about all of that. Um,
I try to stay out of that noise.
Yeah, I try to stay out of the drama, but like anytime I'm like, oh yeah, dude, I'm excited about Borderlands 3. People are like, yeah, did you read this link yet, or like things like that, and I'm just like, man, most of the time I have no problem with just not buying a game if something controversial happened. Um, but I have been waiting for Borderlands 3 for like I don't know 5 years, and I'm so excited to play it. And I'm just like now I'm conflicted.
Well, and
Like,
no, just because you play the game doesn't mean you support their actions outside of their jobs. You
oh,
know what I mean? It's
absolutely,
not
and
one
I
thing
agree
has
with
nothing
that.
to do with the other.
Yes, and I agree with that. It's just like I'm just gonna get annoyed if people constantly come into the stream and be like, "Wow, I can't believe you're playing this."
That's
I'm gonna be like, "Yes, yes, I
Hey,
am."
and this is something I learned kind of the hard way with streaming is you don't have to I got for a while I wouldn't play a game unless I streamed it. It just
Mhm.
felt weird to not
Oh yeah,
stream it. Well, I've learned that some games I really enjoy playing for me. I don't
Yes.
stream them. I don't talk
Yes.
about them on stream. People don't even know I'm playing them. But I think maybe if that's, if this Borderlands 3 is going to be that problematic to stream, just play it
Right.
for yourself.
Right. And that's something I've been doing recently actually. For the longest time I literally would not play video games unless I was streaming. So I'm still playing video games 3 hours every single day. So it's not like I'm, hard pressed for video games or anything. But every once in a while now I'll just play like Titanfall 2 for like an hour.
Hmm.
And just, do it while not chatting or not, having to interact with people, just enjoying the game itself. Not that, talking to people takes away from that, but it's like I'm not really 100% focused on the game. And so getting to do that kind of like reignites my passions for video
Hmm.
games, and it's like a relaxing thing for me. So it's almost, I feel like it's good for my psyche just to turn off the stream and just play some games for a bit and just have a good time to unwind. It's hard to think of streaming as my job, because I'm passionate about it. Yes, it can be frustrating. Yes, it can be tiring. Yes, it can be really hard work. But because I'm passionate about it, I kind of forget that it's work. And so I need to remember to take time to relax and
Hmm.
unwind on like outside of that. Because if I stream nonstop all week without any relax time or any, something to calm me down, I don't realize, I'm like, why am I so tense? Why am I so stressed? And it's like, well, you've been doing nothing but, and I say work. I put quotations around it because, I believe in that quote, find something that you love to do, um, and you'll never feel like you're working a day in your life. And that's I mean, that's my life right now. Like I've said, I'm living the dream. Um, my ultimate goal is to get to a place where I'm more, financially stable with streaming, whether that's through D Live or that's through other avenues. I've been thinking about setting up a Fiverr. I just learned how to animate logos that I'm very excited about. I've actually been thinking about getting back into YouTube. I haven't posted in there for a long time, but I'd really like to get back into the content creation. I think I can
Hmm.
make time for that. And so, there's different avenues I think to make money online than just streaming.
Well, do you
And
think you said you like editing? Do you think you would enjoy editing other people's stuff?
The thing with editing is I'm not very confident in my skills when it comes to editing videos, and
Hmm.
so I feel like maybe not. Plus, I wouldn't even know like pricing there. Um, so maybe in the future, but at the same time, I think I would just enjoy creating my own content and then editing that,
Sure.
and then just posting it. And even if it's not like, oh, you're getting tons of YouTube money, it's like, uh, just having even a little bit of exposure or creating content that people love, and then either having that pointed to my D Live and be like, "Hey, come check out my streams." And even if one person comes over, that's worth it to me. And then vice versa, if I'm on my stream, I can be like, "Hey, I also have a YouTube channel, check that out." And I feel like they could feed into each other, so to speak.
Well, you
So,
you talked about streaming, not streaming every day, and that's important to spend other time doing other things. And
yes.
I watch a number of YouTube guys that have been going for 5+ years, and I've seen them, most of them go from streaming or content creation every day to only 3 to 4 days a week. And every one of them has said, instead of putting out an okay thing every day, put out something better every other day.
Yes. Yes. And that's been a huge deal. Like I said, I had cut back from my afternoon streams and just started streaming at the evening. And those 3 days a week, I feel like most of those people stream for about 5 or 6 hours on those days that they actually stream.
Mm.
So I feel like me streaming 3 hours every day is probably like a good balance. Um, but I noticed when I was doing that 1 to 4 and then 10 to 1 stream, pretty much my audience was split up. Half the people would come in the afternoon stream and the other half would come in the evening stream. That's not bad. I want people to watch, but if everyone's in there at the same time and they're all talking to each other and it's a fun atmosphere, if someone new comes into that, they're like, holy crap, this is fun. All these
Hmm.
people are goofing off. We're talking about our favorite foods in here, or we're talking about, who could win in a fight, Spider-Man or Batman. It's like the enjoyment level is a lot higher than as opposed to, oh, 4 people in this stream and 4 people in that stream. It's like when we all get together, it gets more, there's more hype to it.
Yeah,
And so
definitely.
I think it's just smart to be strategic about it, as much as possible. Like as much as you want to have fun and do the things that you want to do, also take in consideration that this is a job and you want to be professional, and the companies spend millions and millions of dollars on analytics and research and psychology and all of that stuff to the point where they place the cereal box just perfectly at eye level because you're more likely to buy it. You know, as much as I want this to be, I mean, I do. I want it to be a place of openness and I want to be transparent about things. I also want to turn this into a profession. If I can make a living while creating content that makes everyone happy, makes everyone feel good, that's the end goal. And I've always been very transparent about that. People are like, "Oh, I understand if you don't want to talk about money." It's like, no, I try to be as much of an open book as possible. I mean, I feel like that's important in today's age,
Well,
especially with my end goal of trying to impact people's lives or influence people to have a better life.
streaming is a very personal thing. I mean, you're letting people into your home,
Yes.
and
Yes.
on a daily basis.
And not just that, but doing it live. I mean, my goodness, how many controversies have we had from someone saying something bad on stream or like things like that? It's like man, it's kind of like being in a land field or a landmine field. Is that what I'm thinking? Nah, I can't speak. Um,
Minefield.
Minefield. What was I saying? Yeah, this for the people that come to my streams, this is a normal occurrence. My brain just stops sometimes. But it can be very dangerous, and so it's like you have to be very careful. You have to be on your guards. People are going to come in and ask you questions, and sometimes you just have to be like, you know what, I'm not going to answer that. Or if you'd like to talk about it one on one, you can message me on Twitter. Things like that. It's like you have to be careful not to get too controversial. I mean, unless that's your shtick. Some people are very much like, yeah, I'm just gonna come out here and I'm gonna just yell and say my mind, and like some people love that. Like that brings in audiences.
Hmm.
Um, but that's not what I'm like. My end goal isn't just to make money. My end goal is to build a brand that makes people laugh, makes people smile, makes people feel comfortable and like they're having a good time. And that's my goal. And so I don't want to be controversial. I don't want to, I keep my stream PG. I try really hard not to cuss on it, which when I do, people just think that's the funniest thing ever. Um, like most of the time it's a jump scare. I remember playing Layers of Fear and I just saw something and I was like, oh, F, and I just yelled the F word and I was like, I've said so many times I try not to cuss on this stream and I just yelled the F word. I was like, I apologize everyone, and then they just gave me crap for it. Like they were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. And obviously most people don't care, but
Well, it's funny. I've seen Sean recently. Sean changed his Ninja Guinea alert to a scream. And so he's getting a lot more donations because people want to wait till he's caught up in something and then make scream so he freak
so
out, and yeah,
yeah.
same thing. Try to get him to cuss and stuff.
Yeah, that was the thing is like I didn't realize how much those things incentivized me until I came onto another stream that was doing it. Like
Hmm.
Prince High Life, me and Skip came into his stream one time and I donated a diamond or something. And as soon as it donated, a robotic voice like read off my message. And I was like, I've never seen that before on D Live. And so then I ended up donating like 5 more like diamonds, but like typing in things like Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto, or like
Right,
I'm
right.
taking over the computer, just like goofy stuff that would be funny to hear robots say. And I'm like, it's like maybe 2 minutes went by and I was like, man, I just donated 5 diamonds in 2 minutes. And then another time, UFA Wired, he just played, this was maybe like 3 or 4 days ago. He's never played a horror game before. And he played Outlast, which is like one of the scariest horror games I've ever played. And he changed all of his alert sounds to loud, scary sounds. I must have donated at least like 6 or 7 diamonds just because I knew the game. I'd just beaten it like a couple months ago, and so I knew when the jump scares were coming up. And so I'd scare him right before I'd try to time it to scare him right before the jump scare. So he'd get scared from that and they'd be like, "Oh, I can't believe you did that." And then kind of like be in a like chill moment. And then while going into the game, it would scare him again and freak him out even more. It was like that is so
Nice.
much fun.
Hmm.
Um, and then on top of that, with Minecraft, uh, I got this idea from Super Skip. He was gracious enough to loan me the image, but we do dono punishments on Minecraft, to the point where if someone donates a diamond, I have to dig 10 blocks down, risk going into lava. But the biggest one that I did was for a ninjet, I'd blow up my house. Like and they would just watch me work on this for weeks. They'd watch me build this giant tree house or build this house that I'd basically been building for a week or 2 weeks. And then someone would actually donate a ninjet. And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I just wanted to watch, you blow up 2 weeks worth of work." And I'm just like, first off, you're a mean person, but I never thought anyone would ever donate a ninjet to me, and that was very effective
Mm.
because it was fun for the viewer. It
Mhm.
wasn't just like, "Hey, I'm supporting this guy because I like them," although that's a big part of it, and I really appreciate that support. It was something that they felt like they were more involved, and that's a big deal.
That's awesome. I remember actually I donated a lot during one of those streams just to try to get you to dig down to the lava, and it never
Yes.
worked. It never happened. I
I
never
was very
got them.
lucky. I was lucky. It was very lucky. So,
That was awesome. That was so much
yeah.
fun. Drop random items. One of them was drop random items, and
Yes.
oh, it was so
Yes.
much fun. It was so much fun.
That's what I'm saying is like, and it made it fun for the stream. It's not just like a hey, give me money kind of thing. It's like this is actually going to make more fun content. I can't tell you how many times the audience has murdered me in Minecraft where they'll like make me stand still. Like there was one time, so a lemon is stand still for a second.
Mm.
People donated like 1,200 lemons, and I just had to sit there as night came and monsters beat me to death
Oh,
straight up.
damn.
Like I was like, this is great. I was like, I guess this is a chatting stream now. We'll just sit here while these zombies just beat me to death.
Classic. Oh shit, we were just talking about Sean. Now he's
I
here.
know. This is awkward.
Oh, it's gonna get weird. Oh.
It's gonna get weird. It's like we summoned him.
Oh, actually, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean
Yeah.
Hawk, Sean Hawk, Sean Hawk. It's like Beetlejuice, and he's just gonna pop out.
And then there's a bald leprechaun in your room, like, hey.
Bald apricot. Oh, no. Listen, I feel like so many people pick on Sean, and I think it's hysterical. But I freaking love Sean
him.
Hogg.
Sean's my boy, man. And it was so awesome. We had Sean on the show, and
Oh yeah,
it's so much fun to talk to people, right? Because when I had him on the show, he still had this persona that he did was very loud and donations, right, and stuff. And when I had him on the show, he stepped aside from that and gave us his true personality and stuff, and it was amazing
right.
option. And now it's funny because he's kind of gotten away from some of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
The acting for donations, and I like it. Like we were just talking about how it's important to keep renewing your stream and changing your stream and keeping it fresh and keeping it new. And I think Sean is one of the better streamers at that. Changing his
Yes.
logo, changing what he
Yes.
does on stream, how he approaches it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about streaming is it's a very it's an adaptive game. You have to constantly be ready to change things or shake things up. You can't just plant a flag and be like, I'm going to stream this game for the rest of my life and everyone's going to watch it and pay me money all the time. It's like you want to be constantly evolving, but you also want to evolve in ways that fit you as a person. If you're doing something that's just going against the grain and you're being something that you're not, I think that's going to show.
Mm.
But I think that's so funny talking about, how he used to sorry, I just saw him say changing my hair next. Uh,
Classic.
I think one of the biggest things that I think is interesting is when people do like a caricature when they're streaming.
Mm.
Like one of my favorite streamers to watch is got to be Dr. Disrespect. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy just puts on a show every single time to the point where I love the fact that he's got like a fake producer or a fake cameraman that he just yells at off screen or something.
Yep.
Like that's just so funny to me.
Yep.
And then just to know that he's probably a little bit like his character, but probably not that, crazy loud all the time. I think that's interesting. And so, I always thought about maybe I could come up with a character, for my streaming, but I feel like it's so much better. I wouldn't say it's so much better. I think it's better for me to be genuine and transparent
Mhm.
and then maybe put on a show every once in a while. Like I've been playing Hunt Showdown these last few nights, and man, when I get in there, I just start talking like a redneck, and I just 3 hours straight, I'm like, "All right, let's get on over here, and we're gonna take out this monster, and then let's just get on out of here." And my buddy Padawan, who plays with me, we just do it back and forth, and we just banter in like this redneck voice. You know, it's not necessarily coming up with a character as much as just being goofy, but man, I had so much fun doing that. And I'd like to think that the people watching it probably enjoyed it as well. They seemed to get a real kick out of it. But man, it was fun to kind of like get out of my just, hey, I'm just me and I'm talking and I'm, being goofy
Hmm.
and stuff. It was like, all right, here we go now. We're gonna get on in here, get this pig monster, just adapted to that character. And this is like the only voice I can really do. So
Actually,
it's like perfect.
I found myself slipping into that same kind of country twang when I play American Truck Simulator.
Yes, it
It just
wasn't like I was
happens.
planning it. Like, I think I'm going to try a hick voice tonight for my stream.
Hmm.
It was no like it kind of felt, if it's I slid into it, you know.
The truth shall set you free.
That's right. That's right. And then on top of that, I was like, you know what? I should just get a cowboy hat. I should get one of those cap guns that's like a revolver pistol. I was like, I should just, anytime I play this game, I should just dive right into character, and I would have such a blast with that. Like, that'd
Absolutely.
be great.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. So, for those of you just joining, Mr. Carl, if you don't mind, please reiterating your time zone and streaming schedule.
I'm sorry. Can you ask that one more time? I
You're
coughed and I just lost
busy
all
falling
audio.
out. Yeah, no worries, man. I was asking you to tell people when you stream.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I stream Monday through Saturday. Sorry, Monday through Friday, 10 to 1, and that's Central Standard Time. And then on Fridays I do things a little bit different. I'm sorry, Saturdays I do 8 to 11.
Okay.
Fridays I do a 1 to 4 afternoon retro stream, and on Saturdays, but I'm actually thinking about changing that. So that might not be the best thing to tell people.
Retro stream is in
Um,
retro gaming.
Yeah, I do either retro gaming or like indie platforming games, because I'm a
Okay.
huge fan of those. So I either play like Super Nintendo because I have the was it the Super Nintendo Classic, that little small
Mm.
thing that
Hmm.
Nintendo made. I love that thing, by the way. So I either play something on there, or lately I've been playing Hollow Knight, which is an indie platformer, because I love platformers and I love indie games. So it's been good to get out of the AAA games that I play pretty much every single night. If I'm playing Apex, or if I'm playing Hunt Showdown, or I'm playing Minecraft, like the big
Mm.
popular games. It's always good to go back and play games that are different, but I still thoroughly enjoy. You know,
Now, I haven't
Hollow Knight's
played.
been crazy good. It's been a fun time.
I haven't played
So
Minecraft on stream, but I played Minecraft for years with my sons, and I love the game. And after I saw you playing it, was considering doing it myself. But there's an interesting like split. Uh oh, my OBS is acting up. So if we drop out, that's why.
okay,
If we get some
okay,
F's in chat, um, there's like a split between like don't ever stream Minecraft and it's okay to stream Minecraft. Have you heard that sort of undercurrent?
yeah, yeah, I sure have. And that's the thing, is like, so um before I'd ever streamed it. First off, I'd never played it ever. I saw it. I thought it was a really cool concept. I
Hmm.
never bashed on it. There's so many people who are like, "Oh, that game's so dumb," and I'm like, "Dude, it is like Legos for adults." I was like,
Exactly.
"Your creativity is your limits with that game. Like, you can build worlds upon worlds," and I think that's just like absolutely wonderful. In fact, I want to see more games like that, where it's just like it's a free open thing that you can do
Mm.
anything you want with creatively. Um, but up until I started streaming it, I had never played it before, never bought it. And when I told Super Skip that, he was like, "Cool, I'm buying it for you, and we're gonna play together." And so he bought it for me, and I was like, "All right, I'll give it a try. I don't think I'll find it all too entertaining." And I was immediately addicted. Um, and not just that, but it was a great time to be streaming it, because I think like a week after that, PewDiePie started his Minecraft series, and so
Hmm.
everyone was hyped about Minecraft, and I was like, "Oh, this is so much fun!" So I had new people in the stream all the time, talking about Minecraft, talking to me about PewDiePie, which I'm a big PewDiePie fan, love him to death. So it was a lot of fun. And then, just getting to play that game for the first time, I really think it's a fun game to stream. And another reason is I can stop at any time. I could keep up with chat without a problem playing that game.
Right, right.
Which, I just don't have the the ability to do that while playing other games. I'm not that good
Actually,
at reading.
I choose the games that I play so that I can continue to interact with chat.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
that's a big deal to me is like, there are days when I want to play, games where I'm focused on the game. Like Apex Legends is definitely one that I have a blast with. I have fun with. I think it's fun gameplay. It's interesting gameplay to watch. But then there's days where, if I'm playing an indie platformer or I'm playing a retro game, I can literally just or like a single player game, I can pause it and
Mm.
just talk to the chat. And I think that's important to a lot of people just play one game or a lot of people just play one type of game. And I think it's a good idea to mix it up. Unless you're like just a god at whatever game you're playing, then God, just play it all the time. People are just going to watch you because you're amazing at it. My skill level is not that high that people are going to come in and be like, yeah, I'm here just to watch you play this game.
I don't think I'd
It's
want
like,
to play the same game every day for years.
man, people do that. I don't know how people do that. I don't. Like some people stream and play Apex Legends for 5 hours every single day. And I'm like, wow. Like I'm impressed, but I can't do it.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't.
Well, even still, it's just kind of like eating the same meal every single day. It's like eventually you're gonna get burned out on it, quite a bit.
Exactly. Exactly. So, guys, we're getting into a part of the conversation where you can interject. If you guys have questions, you want to get to know Mr. Magic Carl on a more personal level. Obviously, he doesn't have to answer your questions, but if you got something specific you'd like to ask, please go ahead and start filtering questions into chat.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But what I've noticed, Carl, with me is I've been a gamer since I was young, but
Mhm.
I'm not particularly good at it, right? Because I'm just having fun. I'm not trying to be the best at any particular game.
Right,
So
right.
what I've learned on D Live is people know and have their favorite streamers that are gamers and that are awesome at it. For me personally, I get way more viewers in my channel if I'm just chatting than if I'm trying to game.
Yes.
Because I'm a potato at gaming, and that's fine. And I don't mind. Right? But so how do you feel? Like I know you've tried to do some chat streams, you do a lot of gaming streams. Do you feel like you would do more chatting streams if they picked up?
I think what happens most of the time that's usually best for me is like I started out as a gaming stream, but then halfway through it kind of adapts into a chatting stream. Like even if I have to just
Mm.
pause or stop the game and we just have a conversation that naturally comes up, then I'm all about that. I'm all about that. My thing that I hate is like when I first start the stream and it's just a little slow on the conversing. I don't want to just be sitting there, you know, just I don't know, trying to come up with conversations if people don't want to talk. So if they
Ah,
don't want to chat, hey, it's not a big deal. I'll play some games. You can watch, we can hang out. If you're wanting to ask me a deep question or you're wanting to chat or you're bringing up a topic that we can talk about, I have no problem with pausing it and then we can talk. One of my favorite things is when people come in and ask me questions about streaming. Like I've been studying a lot on how to grow and things like that. And obviously I'm not a professional yet, but I still like to talk about it with anyone who's asking questions. Um, because like we said earlier about the grinding thing, someone came in and told me that they were going to start streaming 12 hours every single day. And I was like, I don't think that's the best way to grow or spend your time. And so, I would say I think I'm an above average gamer. And
mm,
so my gameplay is pretty fun um to watch, I hope. But at the same time, I really love to talk to people. And
mm,
so I would definitely be interested in doing chatting streams. It's just maybe a chat stream once a week. I was
okay.
thinking about doing like Tuesday talks or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know what topics or I don't know what things to talk about. And that's the biggest thing is I need people to come in and then have me be able to bounce back and forth with kind of
Right,
thing.
right. Well, and sometimes those things just happen organically. Like my example would be I have Thursday night game night. And that just kind of happened on accident. I started playing Jackbox one night on
Mhm.
stream. I normally stream during the day. I happened to be on like 8 p.m. at night and turned on some interactive games with the audience. And now it's every Thursday night from 8 p.m. to midnight, Thursday night game night. It's like, so it's
Yes. Yeah.
sometimes that stuff just develops as there's a need and your chat kind of dictates it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is, in like what we were talking about, being adaptive. Like you adapted that. It's like it came up organically, and you saw how fun it was and how many people enjoyed it, and then you implemented it into your stream. And I
Exactly.
feel like a lot of people don't do that, or they don't maybe they don't just pay attention to those things. If if you're playing Apex Legends and a person comes in and says, "Hey, how are you doing?" and you don't respond till you're out of the game. You go, "Oh, hey, I'm doing so good. How are you?" And then you go back to playing and they say, "Oh, I'm good. Who do you main in this game?" And then you don't, another 10 minutes goes by and then you respond and then they left.
Mm-hmm.
Some people want to be there for interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a good idea to try a bunch of different things. Don't just do the same thing every time and then complain about the platform or complain about other outside things. It's like you need to try everything that you can try before you start realizing, okay, maybe this isn't my fault. Because some people just want to try it one way and this is the only way for success and this is the only way I'm going to do it. And when
Mm.
they don't succeed, they get frustrated and they blame external things. When
Sure.
in reality, there's a lot of different ways to do this. I mean, a lot of people on this platform thrive off of doing nothing but chatting streams.
Right.
Um, a lot of people, and they do a great job, and they're fun to watch, and all of those things. And that's their strengths. So you definitely want to play around your own strengths. Um, but I think, yeah, like you said, you had the Jackbox games, people enjoyed it. You had a fun time. That's something you implemented into your stream, and I think it's just like having an eye for that or just paying attention to things that go well or do better. I think it's a skill that anyone can acquire. And I don't think it's too hard to practice.
Exactly. All right, so we got Rowdy Souls wants to know what's your favorite guilty pleasure game, aka a game that was reviewed badly or is notoriously bad, but you play it anyway.
Oh goodness. I'm gonna have to think about that one. Um, a game that is bad or notoriously bad, but I still like to play. Hmm. I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe there's like a oh god, no, I know the exact game. It was the first horror game that I ever played, and it was on Sega Dreamcast, and it's called Blue Stinger.
Hmm.
Um, and it is just like terrible voice acting, pretty mediocre animation. The controls are terrible, but there's just something so nostalgic about it. But that man, I would go back and play that in a heartbeat. I'd even play it on stream with its terrible writing and its terrible functionality and its like goofiness. It's like I don't know, you're on some island and then a meteor falls, and there's like it's almost like they're like mutated with dinosaur DNA. So like the zombies have like multiple arms and stuff like that. And it's like looking back on it now, it's so goofy. But when I was like 9 or 10, I thought that was A, horrifying, and B, just like so much fun. And gosh, it's a badly made game.
What's
Um
your favorite color? And also sing Numa Numa.
uh
That's what Super Skip
I would
said.
just like to reject any look, I didn't even have to look at the chat to know that was Super Skip. Um Orange is my favorite color. It was purple for the longest time, but recently I've been just in love with orange. And also, no, I'm not going to sing Numa Numa. The
All
only
right.
time I've sang Numa Numa on stream was when I was tipsy. And
What
by tipsy, I mean wasted.
what
It
is
was
Numa Numa?
it's this I don't even know if I think it's like a Romanian song,
Hmm.
but it became viral from this gentleman singing it. But that was like I feel like that was one of the first videos of the internet to like go viral. So it was just him singing that song, being goofy, but then that's how most people know the song. So, and then I sang it on stream when I was drunk one time, and it was a good time. And now Skip asks all the time if I'll sing Numa
I
Numa.
don't know Numa Numa, Rachel, and I'm not getting any love here from Carl.
You
I,
were you were trying to get me to sing it, weren't you? You were trying
I
to like,
would.
oh yeah, how's that
No,
song go?
I don't know it. I don't know it. I would. I am like, how does that song go? Because I don't know it. I didn't know it was such a big thing.
Yeah, it was like back in the day when like YouTube videos or just videos in general were starting to become like viral and like memes like were starting to first form. Like, you ever see the guy, the ninja that does a backflip and like hits his head on the floor or something like that? It was like
Yes,
in that. It was like
I
in that
remember
era.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was like in that era of like videos becoming like so funny and being shared and all that jazz. It was a weird time. So
I had to give
crazy
you,
time.
I had to give you a jazz hands. There was another all that jazz.
Woo. Man, yeah, apparently I say that phrase a lot. Like
Yeah,
it's like some phrases you just say all the time and you don't realize it till someone points it out, and
that's
then
why I'm doing jazz hands for you every time you say
I
it.
mean,
Just
it's probably not gonna stop me. It's just
no,
gonna
no.
flow right out of my mouth.
I'm still having a
Like,
good time.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Oh gosh, there's that gif.
When you touched on the stream starting slow, what do you do to fill the time space of you playing / interacting with chat?
I mostly ask how people are doing. I ask how their day is. If there's one person in there, that's still one person I want to have a conversation with, even if it's slow. Um, and I don't mind that. I don't mind talking with one person, but it could be someone that I'm like, "Hey, how are you doing today?" And they're just like, "Good." I'm like, "Oh, well, what have you been up to today?" "Nothing." It's like, "Alrighty." And so what I do is I just I just talk about the game that I'm playing.
Hmm.
Whether if it's like Apex Legends, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna try to get this weapon and I'm gonna go over here. And I see that guy in the distance, but I'm not gonna take shots because I know there's someone over here to the right and I don't want to give away my position. So I'll just commentate my own gaming. Or I'll just, tell them about my day or things like that.
Hmm.
And I think the thing that, that stinks sometimes is, I'll have like 3 or 4 people in the stream and they'll all say hello and then I'll just start talking. And I don't know if they've like put their phone down to make a sandwich or anything like that, or if they're paying attention. So they might not respond to it at all. But that's not the point. The point is, if they're there and they are watching, I want to be talking to them.
Mm.
And I think that's something that a lot. I guess a lot of people look at the viewers and they just look at the numbers and they just I don't know. There's like a certain stigma about it. Like, oh, there's only 4 people in here. Well, I'm disappointed with that, and I'm not going to talk to them. It's
Hmm.
like even if there's one person, you should be streaming the same way. If one person is watching or 1,000 people are watching, because if one person, in my opinion, if one person is willing to sit down and watch my content and genuinely watch it and genuinely enjoy it, I want to give them the best time that they can possibly have. That is someone's precious, precious time that they could be spending with another person or gosh, another streamer. It's so easy for them to click off and go to someone else that is, maybe more their speed or something like that. So if someone's willing to give me that precious time of their life, like I want it to be a good time for them. And I want to not necessarily like fake turn on the energy or anything, but I want to treat them the same way I would if like, I don't know, some celebrity stepped into my stream. I think that's one big thing is, I don't want to be like, "Oh, hey, Super Skip, how's it going?" And then be like, "Oh my gosh, Rowdy Souls, you're in here. How's it going?" You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
I feel like that's not right to do. Even if a global partner comes in, I want to greet them the same way that I greeted, the 12-year-old kid who's like, "I'm sorry, I don't have any Lino to give you." It's like, dude, that's okay. I'm thrilled you are here. And I want to give everyone that same kind of hype, because it's true. It's true.
Yeah, my brothers said it. Sean Hawk. I've heard a number of other streamers say it. Like when you get stuck, you're all you have to do is say out loud what you're thinking while you're playing the game, which is
Yes.
basically what you were just saying. Is
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, you're having thoughts, and you're having thoughts because you're playing the game, you're streaming, you're interacting, right? So just say those out loud, and that really
Yes.
seems to help.
It really does. And I feel like it gives the audience, no matter how big or small they are, a chance to respond back to you. Like
Well,
if
and
I'm like, "Oh yeah,
sometimes I think it's not too many streamers don't keep this in their mind. People are wanting to be entertained,
yes.
right? And streaming is work,
Yes.
and you have to be entertaining. But as a viewer, they don't have to entertain you. They don't
Oh,
have to talk at all.
absolutely. I think one of the beautiful things about streaming though is, it's not just entertainment, it's entertainment that they can get involved in. But you're absolutely right. There's no obligation for them to talk to you. They do not have to talk to you. They can lurk. They can just watch from afar.
Hmm.
It's our job to be entertaining and have fun and like things like that. And like I said, I don't want to like be like, okay, time to turn on my streamer switch, and now I'm going to be so energetic and I'm going to be so crazy and I'm going to yell every time something happens. It's like you don't want to necessarily put on a show unless you're doing like a character, which like I said earlier, I have no problem with people doing that. I think that's fun and interesting and unique. But you want to be as much as yourself as possible, but you also want to make sure that you're a person that's going to be entertaining, and give content. Like, if, like, let's say I'm not a talkative person, let's say I have just zero charisma, well then I better be a really good video game player. Let's say I'm not as good as a video game player, so let's hope that I'm good conversationally. Things like that. It's like you have to realize your entertainment level. If you
Right.
want it to be focused on the game and less on you, then be good at your games. If you're not that good at games, then be good at conversations. And then people, they don't analyze themselves, and then they wonder why their streams aren't growing or why they're struggling or things like that.
You could
Um,
also just light candles to distract people.
yes, yeah.
Like, I do
That's
that.
the thing, is you
It
can do
helps.
anything on stream and people will like enjoy it. You know what I mean? Just be goofy or
Exactly.
something like
Exactly.
that.
Be yourself, because that's really you. You have to be consistent, right? And the
Yes.
only thing you
Yes.
can really do consistently is be yourself.
And one of the things that's great about this is like what if you went and watched a TV show, and then the next day you watch the same TV show, it's a different episode, but that one they were just acting terribly. It was like really bad acting. Like you would never watch that show again. But the thing about streaming is, like, one day, man, I'll be like super hyped and super excited, and the next day I can come in and be like, guys, I'm so sorry. I barely got any sleep last night. I'm not feeling well. So we're going to stream, but I'm sorry. I'm a little more chill tonight. And they are totally understanding. Not
Hmm.
only that, but they are accepting and they're supportive. Like, oh, I'm so sorry you didn't sleep well. I hope you get good sleep tonight. If that happened on TV, we'd be like, they're acting terrible today. Like,
Right.
forget this show. It's like
Yeah.
the thing about streaming is it's a relationship with the audience. You
Mm.
don't get that in other forms of entertainment. And so even
Right.
if they don't want to talk to you, you're still entertainment. But if they do, that's, I think, where you get the opportunity to really grow something intimate with that person, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. I enjoy the community because it's like Cheers, the old TV show Cheers, and you walk in,
Yes.
everybody's like, "Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Here's your favorite beer. Here's a conversation. Let's go."
Exactly.
I love it.
And not just that, but then new people are welcomed. Like on,
Mm. Hmm.
it's like if I went to a bar and I just walked up to a group of people standing around drinking drinks, I'm like, yeah, I also like that sports team. Like people would be like, cool. But like you come into a stream on here and you're like, oh yeah, I play that character all the time too. Everyone would be like, oh cool. Like it's a lot more welcoming and it's a lot more
Exactly.
warm than a lot of social situations. Like I said earlier, I'm an introvert. Like going out and like if I went to a bar, I'm not talking to another person on there the entire time unless I know them pretty much.
Hmm.
Except for the bartender or like, whatever the situation may be. But if there's someone sitting at a table, I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to that person. But on here, if there's a person streaming, whether they have 10 streamers or zero streamers, I can go in there and I will talk to them right away.
Hmm.
Um, and it's an interesting social, like it's its own social circle in a sense, or its own. No, I can't think of the right word. I did my best.
I think we're boring the chat. They're talking about gamer girl bathwater now.
Oh, gross.
That's how to reach the top, they say.
I would just like to say, you can have me on record. I will never ever sell my bathwater to anyone ever because that's really weird.
Yeah, that's gross and weird. And a thing. We did.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that disappoints me the most is not only was it a thing, but then it was like sold out within like hours, and I'm like, society, please, like what society?
Yeah, we're no. Yeah, no.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Rowdy Souls bearded gamer boy bathwater says
Nope.
interesting and valuable. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's move on.
Yeah. So, anyways, a different topic.
So what's your favorite? This is my last serious question I had.
Okay.
On the time you've been on D Live, what's your favorite like thing that they've changed or added, or that D Live has done that you went, oh yeah, that's awesome, we needed that? Or has there been anything, or is there something that you need or want to see?
I would say my favorite thing has definitely been the updates with the chests.
Hmm.
A lot of people gave so much kickback on any of the changes with the chests. I came on and the old chest was it would build up over time. It was in an individual chest, and you'd open it up and get I don't know what the ratio is, like 1 to 5 leaner or something like that. I usually got one pretty much every time, which wasn't a big deal. It's like, cool, I got a free Lino. Like I can go donate this limit to someone. That's fun. But then when the new chest came out, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is now the streamer's chest. They can open it up, and then it gives it out based on how much they chat, and it's like it's a big amount. Like people can get it's like I used to farm like one Lino every like 5 minutes or so. And now, like, if it opens up, I get like, a potential of like, I don't know, 100 Lino or
Right.
200 Lino. And that's
Exactly.
so much more than the one. And so I was really excited about that. People were so against it right off the bat. And I was like, really? I think it's fun for the chat to be involved in.
Hmm.
And then people started, using the chat, filling it up to get, more people in there. And I was like, man, that really stinks because some people are just doing it to give back to the community, and I have no problem with that. And really, some people are doing it to get more viewers. And to be honest, I didn't really have a problem with that either. Like, I think it's smart marketing, but at the same time, I didn't have any extra money. I'm pinching pennies here, and so there was no way I could fill up my chest and use that same edge. So it felt like I was being left behind because I couldn't utilize that marketing scheme. And so I was just having to fend for myself with my little empty chest over here. And I was really kind of sad about it because I really wanted to give back to the community, but also utilize the fact that, all these people are getting all of these viewers with like and growing from these giveaways. And I'm happy for them. I really am, but I wanted to be involved in that too. It's hard for me to watch myself not grow an entire week while other people are dumping Lino into their chests and are just growing like huge numbers. And I'm just sitting here like everyone's getting closer to the top and I'm just still at the bottom. And at some point, when you're so far at the bottom, it feels like it gets harder and harder to climb.
Hmm.
Um, so, I was frustrated about that, and then, people were just split. People were like, "Oh, we hate the old chest, all this jazz." But then within like a month, they already changed it. They already like heard the things, and so they changed it to where I think there was a max cap on how much you could put in there. I think it's 10,000 a week now,
Hmm.
which was really cool. I just saw your jazz hands. Um, just it's a little delayed on the stream, but that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, they had the maximum that you could use. And another thing is like people were frustrated that people would just come to their stream for just the money, for just the Lino that they can get. And so now the chest is invisible on the Lino. And I think that is the best move that they could have done. I really like that they've done that to where not only is it's a super fun system that I think gives out more and it's randomized. So it's like, oh, when are you going to get it? I feel like it brings out suspense and fun and joy for the audience with a much bigger reward. And now that it's hidden, people aren't here specifically for the Lino. There was those
Hmm.
those chest hunters, as people call them, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so I think that's amazing.
Great answer.
So yeah, and as for something that they would implement, I'm not really sure. I mean, I have a few ideas, but nothing that I could formulate into words because I don't even know if some of those things could work out or like things like that. Um, what I really like is the Mixer Sparks. You know what I'm talking about? You know how those work on Mixer?
I've never watched Mixer. No.
So there's two types of currency. There's the currency that you can buy, and then there's Mixer Sparks. And the way that the Sparks work is like every minute that you watch a stream, I think you get 50 Sparks.
Hmm.
And so, you can donate that to whoever you want. Now, the reason I say this probably wouldn't work on D Live is because A, you're already making a Lino. But B, it's kind of like an empty currency. It doesn't mean anything. But if a streamer is a verified partner, and then gets to like a certain amount of sparks or whatever, they
Hmm.
get so if they get like 1 million sparks within I think 2 weeks, they get like $5. And then if they get 5 million sparks within those 2 weeks, they get like 10 more dollars. So they've made $15 in total.
I see.
And then it resets after the period. And then if you get another million, you get the $5. And so it's like in tiers. And so it's a way for people that don't have any money whatsoever to support their streamers that they like to watch. And I thought that's really fun. Because the thing with, the Lino chest is you're not guaranteed to get a certain amount of Lino, and you're not guaranteed to even get anything in that chest. and then it only is opened when the streamer decides to open it. And
Right.
so like this is something that is a constant gaining currency that's on Mixer, that people are gaining and then can donate it when they want. And I think that's a really, really cool system. I don't know if D Live could ever implement something like that because of the way their Lino system works. But I think that's ingenious. I think that's smarter than most of the things I've seen on Twitch in comparison. So
When
I really thought that was cool.
I'd heard some talk about, I've heard different streamers talking about ads being on other platforms. Should they
Mhm.
bring ads to D Live? Um, what do you feel? How would you like the ad free D Live, or do you think it matters?
I think it should be at the discretion of the streamer, in my opinion. I think if you wanted to have an ad-free stream, that's great. But I've also heard that with maybe it's on Twitch, you can get paid for how many people are viewing that commercial or things like that. Like if I had to run to the restroom and I was like, instead of using Be Right Back screen, I go, hey guys, I'm gonna roll this ad. It helps me out. I really appreciate it. And then, I go to the bathroom. By the time I come back, it's over. I've made a little bit of extra money, things like that. I don't know if I would do it myself. I really like my Be Right Back screen. Um, and I also don't really like, I don't like the way ads look, but I think if that gave an opportunity for a streamer to make some more money, I mean, this is a thing that most people want to do full time, but struggle to find the ways to do it. If it's something that could bring even just a little bit more stability into this very unstable profession, I feel like it would be a good thing. But I feel like it'd be really good not to force that upon the streamer. And I think it'd be like a really good thing to let them decide if they, on an individual basis,
Hmm.
you know.
Now I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of ASMR, and I know that there's a dog in that room.
Oh, she definitely is. She's running around right now. I don't know what she's doing.
I hear the
Um,
I hear the tag. What's your
yeah, the
dog's name?
jingling. My dog's name is Athena, and she's a total goofball.
What kind of dog?
She's part German Shepherd, part Doberman. I was lost the
Oh,
word
so that's
there.
a pretty good sized dog.
Actually, she's not that big. I'd say
Oh,
she's like a medium sized dog. I'd say like 60-ish pounds.
is she big enough
So
to say hi? Like, are you
yeah, if I
interested
if
in
I
that?
here's the thing is she doesn't like it when I stream. It seems to be like because I used to on stream have like a confetti pop gun and then like stuff like that and some
Ah,
loud noises. It's why I stopped doing it is because when I would sit down and put my headphones on, she would leave the room. Athena, Athena, come here. Oh, I hear her jingling. Come here, baby. You want to say hi to all the people? Oh, what a good girl.
oh, what a
There she
sweetie.
is.
Oh, she's
What a
got
good girl.
such a sweet face.
Are you gonna talk on the mic? Are you gonna say hello? Yeah,
That's a
she's
sweetie.
sweet. I love her little eyebrows that she has.
Yeah,
So
very like yeah, very sweet. I guess is the
yeah.
best word I could come up with.
Yeah, she's such a sweet dog. And it's so funny because, she would never bite anyone or be aggressive. In fact, she's more skittish than anything. But if you come up to our door and she doesn't know you, she seems like the scariest dog in the world. I mean, it's like rah, 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 rah. But as soon as you enter the house, she's like, "Oh, I'm just gone." She's just like tail tucked in, running away, fear. But man, I've had
That's a good dog.
yes, yeah, yeah, and I don't mind because I'm like, if anyone wants to come mess with us, try to break into the house, like they're going to be terrified. But let me tell you, if we have a pizza delivery guy or a mailman come up to the door, I feel bad for him. She's real scary. And it's just so funny because she's a total marshmallow.
She sounds like Bobby from King of the Hill. Okay, I get the reference. Bobby.
Bobby.
All right, guys, do you have questions? We kind of ran out of questions from the audience. If you have more questions, please ask. We're talking to Mr. Magic Carl here. Yes, his name is Carl. No, he's not a Magi, but that's okay. It's okay. 1 out of 2 ain't bad.
Exactly. Listen, I'm gonna learn some sleight of hand or something
You
for this
need
stream. I
something.
feel like that'd be
Yeah.
fun if I was just like having a conversation and just like
Yeah,
doing something cool.
just go and flowers, and then just toss them over your shoulder like it didn't happen. Pull a handkerchief out of your hand,
Yeah, exactly.
just
Exactly. And then just
hacks.
act like it's just a normal thing. Like,
Exactly.
Oh, I need to wipe my face. You just pull it out and be like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
turn it into a dove, let it
Grab
fly
one out of
off.
your shirt. Exactly. Now you're thinking. Hey,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
the one that named yourself Magic Carl. I didn't do that. All right. All right.
It's true. It's true. Very true.
Um, boxers or briefs? That question comes up a lot. Yeah.
Um, Boxer briefs.
That's what I
The
said.
best of both worlds.
Exactly. Actually, I've seen this question twice now. I forgot to ask it the first time. I apologize. Do you consider real life streams? Is that something you might do?
Oh, I've definitely thought of doing that. I need to figure out how to do that on my phone. I feel like I would I would really enjoy doing that, but at the same time, I feel like I'd only do that at like at big events. So I mean, I live in a town where there's nothing to do. It's called Brownwood. Like I live in a place called Brownwood, and it is just like just nothing. There's nothing here. So it's not like I could be like, oh yeah, I'm going to this festival or this event. You know, I'm gonna live stream it. It's gonna be so exciting. It's gonna be like, yeah, so I'm gonna go to Walmart tonight, buy some socks, and I'm gonna live stream the. Actually, I feel like people would love that for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, the people of Walmart is always a good time.
Oh gosh, oh it's bad. It's bad. Um, but yeah, I would love to do live streams, but I want to do good live streams. I see people doing live streams and they're doing like camping or like doing something cool or interesting, and I'm like, yeah, I've just got nothing really crazy fun to do.
I just
Um,
don't have the technical knowledge. Like I live on a lake and people want to watch me fish. I don't know how to set that up.
Not
I
just that, but camera angles would be difficult. I feel like audio would be such a pain, like
exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
so
And
yeah, lots of issues with it for sure. But I'd like to figure it out someday.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
But I'd also like to do interesting things. Like yeah, fishing would be great if I had something to do. Like I guess I could go fishing, but it's also like a 10 billion degrees.
Yeah,
So
it's been pretty ridiculous to be outside.
yeah, this summer has been real rough.
Fire. All right, guys. Well, I think we did it, man. I think we're good to go. We've had Magic Carl on for the last 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's been great.
We've been talking about there was some pretty important stuff covered, guys, like Iron Man versus Batman versus Superman versus Spider-Man. Like you guys don't, if you didn't
It's a
catch
good
all
time.
this, you need to go to YouTube after. Matter of fact, one of my mods drop an exclamation point YouTube in chat for me. There is a playlist on YouTube. There's 37 of these fireside chats with streamers from D Live, and every one of them has been different. It's been awesome. I've been really impressed with these interviews and the quality of the human beings on D Live, the streamers. Like you, again, I asked you to be on the show because you just have such a good heart and want to be a part of the community of D Live. And that's what I'm championing. That's what I'm a part of. That's why I stream, because of the community on D Live. So I would like to say thank you for being here today, and thank you for sharing your story with us. You're awesome.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. This was an absolute blast. Like this was great. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. And so it was really, really a great experience. I had a lot of fun.
Well, I can tell you with your voice, if you ever get bored with streaming, just go for like late night jazz radio DJ.
I cannot tell you how many times my mom
Welcome.
has
This
told me
is
that.
Magic Carl. Welcome back to 93.7. Like I feel like you've got that in you, you know?
Spreading the music and the magic.
Mm.
Every night at 10.
That's right. That's right. Every night from 10 to 12.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Mr.
Oh,
Carl,
that's
I'm going to
too
wrap up the show. If you don't mind just hanging on here in Discord real quick,
Yeah,
I'll be
that's
right
not a
back
problem
with you, my
whatsoever.
friend. If you want to
All right,
say
sounds good.
aloha to everybody.
Hey, aloha, everyone. Y'all have a wonderful day.
So, guys, thank you very much for being here with us today. I'm author Joe Holt. This is called Fireside Chat. It's a live podcast I do with other D Live streamers, and it's so you can learn about streaming D Live, about them in particular. If you guys are listening and you're a streamer on D Live and you want to be a part of the show, hit me up a direct message on Discord, and we'll set one up. I apologize for we had one scheduled yesterday with Sweaty Yeti. There was a medical issue that came up in the family, and we've rescheduled it. As soon as I confirm the reschedule, we'll let you know. But I appreciate your guys' patience on that one. Anyway, wherever you are in the world, I love you all. Thanks for being here. It's been awesome. Let's find somebody to host. I like passing you guys on to some more beautiful people. There are plenty of incredible human beings on right now. I like to support. I support different streamers every day. I host somebody different. But what I want to do right now, I'm going to drop you off with Pygos. He's a global partner here. He's a good dude. I'm trying to support the global partners more, help them get CCU requirements because global partners have CCU requirements and verified partners don't. So if you guys don't mind, let's go over and say aloha to Mr. Pygos. Again, thank you all for being here. Aloha. See you very soon. And let's drop this host. Go give this guy some love. See you soon, guys. All right, let me